Chiclets fans, Biz here. I have a very important announcement to make. We have all brand new merchandise at the Barstool Sports store at barstoolsports.com/chiclets. You need bathing suits? We got them. You want a hat? We got them. You want a nice new tee? We got it. How about a nice cozy sweater? All brand new merchandise for you Chiclets fans. Now go check it out.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 403 of Spittin Chiclets, presented by Pink Whitney from our friends at New Amsterdam Vodka here in the Barstool Sports podcast family. Gang, we have a nice little surprise episode for you this week. We just can't stay away from you folks. First ever Chiclets recorded from St. John's, Newfoundland. Very excited for that. Hosted in the, I got to give Greg, the GM, a shout out. He's very kind to let me use his office for these
first shout out already. Holy shit.
Guy, he hooked it up. I got to hook him up, boys. But we got to say hello to the boys. Interrupting our vacation for a little surprise up. Mikey Granelli, what's going on? What have you been up to, buddy?
I just got back from Vancouver on the Pink Whitney Tour with Busy Boy. But before that, I was in the great country of Italy, and more specific, the Amalfi Coast. Trip of a lifetime. I don't know if you saw the picture of me in my new hat. I should have wore the hat for this episode. It's completely changed me as a person. But I ate so much. I drank a ton of wine, went cliff jumping in Trouba and fucked my back up. And other than that, it was an unbelievable trip, boys.
I seen that picture with the hat. You look like the guy who was buying the embryos in Jurassic Park, the dinosaur embryos, that shady dude. You look exactly like him. But the hat
has changed my life.
All right. Next, we're gonna mix things up a little bit.
I want to know Witt's thought on the hat. I'm gonna say it did a lot for you.
I haven't even seen the hat, bro.
Oh, you haven't? You've been off the grid. I will say, Granelli, it helped you.
There's no grid in existence in my life right now. I have not seen this hat. Like, now I have to see it. So where do I go to see it?
I'm sending it over to you now. Biz, you're exactly right. It took a ton of attention off the schnoz. A ton of attention.
You might actually have the worst nose on the podcast.
Definitely.
But from this...
Yeah, your schnoz is a fucking nightmare, Granelli.
And it's natural. It was. I was born like this. It's not like I got my face
Go to the
punched
side.
in like
Go
this.
to the side. Let me see.
If RA had a nose...
dude, it's like a fucking
Chris Drury.
Big potato with a sack of curve on it.
If RA had that nose, he'd be dead because of the amount of woof he could do up it.
How you been, Paul?
RA, I will say the hello, everybody, sounded like you were fresh off a cup parade celebration. Now, there is
this hat. Sorry, I like this hat.
It looks good. It looks great.
It looks real good.
Yeah, he got it for $10 off the guy who sells blow on the Amalfi Coast at the beaches. Kind of like how they do in Cabo, right, G?
Correct. Very correct.
That's where I got my Pussy Muncher bandana. I don't know if they got those on the Amalfi Coast, though. It's a little greasier there in Cabo. But, RA, so I know that, like, you and Terry Ryan Sr. are pretty much best friends and hit it off.
They're the same person.
Yeah. So you not only went up to visit the Ryan boys, but it just so happened to be Logan O'Connor. Or no, it wasn't a Logan O'Connor. It was actually Alex Newhook's Cup parade. How was the whole ordeal? And I'm sure you're still there.
Oh yeah, I'm here for the week. I came up for a little vacay, and obviously I was talking to the boys about coming. And Conman was like, "Hey, dude, if you're gonna come up, Newhook's gonna have the Cup party Monday the 21st." And I kind of was looking at that week, so it was no brainer to come here when the Cup was here. I watched the parade basically kind of from my hotel room because I knew we were going to the party later. So I didn't have to get on the sidewalk to watch too much. Had the parade in the day, and we hit a couple bars. I went to O'Brien's last night. And what's funny, dude, right? 3 Newfoundlanders have won the Stanley Cup. Dan Clary, Michael Ryder, and now Alex Newhook. I've celebrated in some form or another with all 3 of them because Clary, when I crashed the Detroit party, I sipped out a cup. Ryder, when I was in the Bruins locker room when they won it, and now Newhook. Like, what are the odds 3 Newfies win, and I'm with all 3 of them? That's like
RA
crazy.
Is a Stanley Cup sandbagger. He's been you might have more cups than Scotty Bowman as far as celebrations are concerned. And what's he got?
Bowman got them all legally and through a fucking normal venue and avenue to get it and raise it above your head. RA's can giving doormen ecstasy to get into cup parties, and sneaking in past parents and safety guards.
Right next to Alan Eagleson in the Hockey Hall of Fame for all the.
No. I'll take all the ranks in the world. Do not put that. MF's. I'm the GM. Do not put that MF's name in my fucking.
Sorry, all right.
I can't.
Alan Eagleson is
yeah.
legitimately
and
one
on
of the
top of
worst
that,
human beings in the world.
Didn't he fuck over Bobby Orr too?
Yep. Is he alive? Is Eagleson alive?
I think he passed.
I won't even.
Who cares?
Listen,
So for our younger listeners though, RA, explain the Alan Eagleson situation with Bobby Orr. I know we have a lot of Boston fans who probably have heard this a million times and can't stand the guy either. But there's like a deep rooted, like Bobby Orr hates this guy's guts.
Yeah, he acted like he was working for the players back in the 70s. He may have even been president of the union. Meanwhile, he was in collusion with all the owners to keep salaries down. He used to tell the players, you don't want your salaries public. You don't want your neighbor knowing how much you make. When it was the opposite. Guys want to know what other guys make so they can, I'm better than him, get more money. They were trying to keep salaries down. He colluded with the owners. And then the Bobby Orr part, the Bruins offered Bobby Orr ownership in the team for like what would have been probably his last contract. Eagleson never told Orr that. He steered Orr to go to the Blackhawks because he was buddies with Wirtz. And like, it's just, I still cringe when I see pictures of Orr in the Blackhawks jersey because it should have never happened. He bullshit Bobby Orr. Bobby Orr trusted him like guys do with their agents. And he fucking totally manipulated it. Never told him the Bruins offered him whatever the percentage points he was going to get at ownership in the team. And yeah, it's a very sore subject. And Bobby was just one of many, many guys that I think it was Russ Conway wrote the book about it. He fucked over so many guys. It's like bad person.
I mean, let's do the math here. Like you would imagine it was at least a couple percent of the team.
Yeah. I bet you it was 5 to 10%.
Yeah, I'm sure it's in
what the hell are the Bruins worth?
I would say probably
800 million.
I would say 1.2 billion would be my guess.
Because we've been over the what franchises are worth the most, and they were right up there. Wow. Yeah, no more calling RA Alan Eagleson.
Yeah, I can take a lot of shit, but I can't.
I'll take a 5-minute major for that.
Go down and back in that 400-yard long kitchen you're in. Go down and back. Go down and back.
I'll see you guys in a few.
Yeah, go down and back. You can see it. This is a thing that I like to do. Me and Merles, for people at home, all you guys listening, you younger kids who get together, drink with your buddies, hopefully Pink Whitney at some point, big deal Bruin. When somebody makes an idiotic, moronic, absolutely foolish statement, you say, take a lap, down and back. And they go to the other end of the room and they touch the wall and they come back. And it's a little penance they pay for being a moron. So, Biz, no more Alan Eagleson comments, but you paid your dues by a quick down and back. All right, I have another question.
Sure.
Or my first question for you. When did you decide to go up there? Was it just because you talked to the boys at the Chiclets Cup, or were you already planning even prior to go up to Newfoundland?
I would say more so the Chiclets Cup and picked up steam. I hung out with the con man quite a bit, and they say, come on up. I feel like this is a place everyone gets drunk and says, oh, I'm going to come up there, and no one ever follows through on it. And, we got the month off, basically. I didn't want to stay in Boston and not do anything and pull my pud in Charleston all month. So I looked at flights. It was, it wasn't too bad getting up here and just see something different, dude.
Great people up there.
Oh.
Unbelievable. And it's funny, too. I mean, the only mountains you think of in Canada, the Rockies or Vancouver. But, dude, this is like all mountains here. And T.I., he's like, hey, you get in at noon. We're going to go do a zip line at like 3:30. I was like, oh, sure, no problem. I was thinking like,
what
one
kind
little
of blow
thing
is
across.
that?
How are you? So I was like, yeah, he's like, my daughter and her friends are going to go, blah, blah, blah. So I have no idea. I'm glad I didn't ask. So we get to this place. They take a school bus up this mountain, and then it's like a legit 20-minute hike up further. And then there's
how'd you do on that?
How are you doing?
I got there.
All the handballs.
Yeah, I might have. I don't think I got the under, but I got there.
Were you sweating out the IPA and cheese that you got in Vermont?
A little bit. It was just, but he told me this, I would have been like, dude, I'm going to be exhausted. I don't want to do it, but I'm glad I didn't ask. So they give you like one little test run to get the feel of it. So, and dude, I shit my pants on the first couple. You're up in a mountain, dude, and like 50% of you is like, wow, this is what it's like to be a bird or Superman. You're 200 feet in the air flying. And then the other 50% is like, all right, if I'm the 1 in 10 million guys to die on this, if it snaps, like it's going to be a painful fucking death. And I'm like, do I want to hit a tree on the way down or just a rock and fucking end it instantly? Because I'm afraid of heights. So I kind of do it to try to battle that. But there were 10 fucking zip lines, Biz, 10 of them, not one. There were like 10 of them to get all the way to the bottom, but it was fun. I'm glad I did.
Well, you could have been like a bird considering you were shitting your pants. You could have been shitting all over everybody hiking up the hill.
Absolutely. But
I've been hiking too lately, RA. We can get into that later, but I want you to continue what you're saying.
So that was great too. But I'll tell you what, I really shit my pants and almost truly died was when Senior, aka Senor, Terry Ryan's dad, picked me up at the airport. And he's giving me the tour. Like, he's like, oh, you want to see a few things? He's showing me where Terry went to high school. There's the college. That's the chemistry building. That's the science building. Like, legit, like every detail. All of a sudden, I hear a horn coming out of nowhere. And I was like, Terry. I thought we were going to get creamed. He didn't see the car coming. He jammed on the brakes. He goes, was it my fault? I'm like, I don't know. He goes, was it my fault? He screamed at me.
Yes, like, Mr. Magoo. Yes, it was.
I was like, senior, I don't know what the signs are. I don't know who ran what here. Like, fucking, and then like my hat was pitter-pattering after. I told everyone, oh, senior picked me up. They were like, wait a minute, he drove? You got in a car with senior? Like,
he doesn't even have a license.
Were mortified when I said that, but he's senior. I don't have to explain him at this point. Piece of work. He told me the Elvis story last night. Everything. He's a beauty.
For the 20th time.
I'll tell you what. A little early though. He's
the one guy. He could tell me the same story every single day. Well, he kind of does. For till the end of time, and I would never get bored because it's almost like he tells it a different way every single time he opens his mouth. But all right, we got to go back even further though, because we should actually talk a little bit more about your Italy trip with your girl, G, and go back to that. But you had a nice time off in Vermont as well. Now I laugh because I think every time you go before you leave, you stock up on cheese and IPAs. Is that like your little gift basket treat to yourself?
Just a straight up dairy diet when you're up there. Milk, cheese.
Diet. No, the beers, because
the new Atkins. Some
of the beers you can't get like local, like the heady topper stuff. I like some people call it weed in a can. Like that's tough to find around Boston. So I'll bring like a couple 4-packs home. And the cheese, I was there, cabbage cheese. We'd be like, oh, you can buy it at Shaw's around the block. I'm like, fuck off. I'm in Vermont. I want to buy it here. It's probably a little fresher. So yeah, just a little something to take home. And I actually want to go back to New Hook real quick while we're talking. Dude, what a guy he is. He flew in. I think it was 21 of his old teammates going way back. He got a house for him. He flew them all in. He had like a Boston house, like an Ontario house, and one other house. I bumped into him, like Matt Boldy, Mark McLaughlin from the Bruins was there last night. A bunch of other guys. Keita's son was there. Hung out with those boys last night. I just want to give him a shout out for doing that for all those guys. Just a tremendous thing to fly.
He paid for all their flights.
He flew them all in, dude. Like I think it was 21 of them. Got them all houses and shit. And it was a tremendous.
If fucking Boldy made him pay. Boldy's gonna make about fucking 75 million playing, and he still's up 400 on me this summer, I think. So if he made that kid pay for him, you're a piece of shit, Boldy. Pay your own way up there.
Yeah, I don't know who footed every bill, but yeah, it was just a tremendous thing for him to do. So I just want to give him some love there. But we go back to you, Biz.
I heard this Boldy kid's a funny fucker. He's living out of Boston, correct?
Yeah, he's a quiet little dry sense of humor. Fucking, I like him. I
heard he wants a piece.
These young hockey guys are fucking good dudes, man. These kids, as you hear the game changing, I'm meeting some youngsters that I love. I love these young guys. Now, you still hope that they go out and have a drink once in a while, but from everything I see in here, they're doing it and they're enjoying life. We don't want the full hockey nerd to be completely taking over the game.
Yeah, I didn't sense any hockey nerds last night hanging out with those boys. The Wit Dog, we haven't introed you properly yet. What have you been up to? I know hitting the golf courses, I would imagine.
I haven't exercised in a month. And then I went today and I fucking threw my neck out. Like my neck is all twinched and tweaked. So I'm like, that's why you don't work out. So Biz is telling me prior to this that you're back on this lunatic Biz workout routine. I know I've said it to this podcast like 600 times, but I need to have the fall come and get on a workout routine 4 days a week. So I have no new news to report in terms of what I'm going to do, but I'm really diving in. I promise.
Have you ever had a six-pack?
No. When I was in the best shape of my life, you couldn't see an ab. Legit. So it's like, I'm not trying to get ripped. I'm trying to get a little leaner, get rid of the love handles. I have an extra like little things going on in the neck where that's growing a little bit. But more than anything, I want to feel good. I want to feel better. But nonetheless, that doesn't matter. I just got hurt today. That's why it was on my mind.
You mean like a little bit of a turkey gobbler?
Yeah. I see a little like an RA second chin coming in on me. No offense, RA.
That's worse than the Allen Eagleson chirp. Do a lap.
I did.
Absolutely not. Although RA has lost about fucking 40 pounds in the last 3 months.
Exactly. No, it was. The last time I saw a doctor was a year ago, and it was
But the thing is, you haven't changed your diet. You don't work out, so
correct. Yes, he did. He's on a cheese IPA diet. He
silver line of stress and anxiety.
Yes, so it's all stress and anxiety. It's not funny, but I mean that's the one good thing. I said at one point to my wife, I go, I just could use like a 4-day flu, and I'll lose 15. I can keep it off. Just give me the flu for 4 days. I'll survive. But my few weeks off has been great. very chill. I will say, in the last maybe 10 days, I've been like, oh, we need to reconnect. I kind of like, I was like, I need to get on the podcast. I just feel like so out of the loop with you guys and the world. I'm like, all right, I need to just record. And then I had no idea we were doing this today. I saw RA's outline last night. I said, perfect. 2:00's money for me. I'm not playing golf today. What else? Oh, I have a very special thing happening. Very special coming up. So, the middle brother of the three Whitney boys, myself, Colin Whitney, the middle guy, and my youngest brother, Sean. Sean had a son. Him and his wife, Casey, had a son, Liam. Congratulations to them. I might have mentioned that. It was a little 2-3 months ago. But Colin's getting married October 1st. And you know what we're doing for a bachelor party?
Blowing hookers?
Georgia Bulldogs home opener in Athens, Georgia for my first ever SEC football game, September 10th. We got 26 guys going down there. We got this tailgate company setting up this monster space with TVs. It's a 4:00 game. We watch all the early games. We got all this food. They're going to be grilling the food up for us. We're going to be around all these alumnus and all these ugly SEC girls. I'm sure they're really tough looking down there. And I'm going to have my red and black on. Ironically enough, my group of friends back home, Keith Yandel's a part of that group, Ryan Yandel, Ned Haven, a lot of people have been mentioned, Foles, that scumbag. We are looking about 5 years ago to get into college football. Let's pick a team. So we picked Georgia. We didn't want to pick Bama. They were trucking everyone. And then we also thought of a place to be fun to go to. And what happens? Georgia finally wins their first national title, I think in close to 40-ish years last year. And we're going to the home opener, their first home game since their first national title since the 80s. And I'll be there, and I can't wait. Because SEC football, to me, is one of the best things you could ever watch. So to actually experience a game, I've wanted to do this for quite a while. So September 9th, 10th, 11th, I'm going to be wrecked. I'm actually getting down there Thursday night, and it's the NFL opener. And it's just a great crew. We're playing golf Friday night, Saturday tailgate, Saturday night out. My wife said, when are you flying home Sunday? I was like, 11 p.m. I'm like, guys are getting 8 a.m. flights. I'm like, no chance. So, I mean, his wedding will be a blast, but if I'm a little more excited for the bachelor party, no offense.
Congrats on the national championship. But I mean,
thank you. Yeah, thank you.
You're just jumping around to the best teams. I mean, you picked Chelsea.
And they won the Champions League. And then they like stink now, though. They lost to Leeds.
You should be forced to put it in your bio, so you have to face the insults of people calling you a bandwagon fan.
Well, no, because I hopped on Georgia 5 years ago and they didn't win till this year. And then I hopped on Chelsea when they weren't even like supposed to be that good. And they won this miracle Champions League. It's not even bandwagon. Bandwagon would be if I was now a Georgia Bulldogs fan. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I think this should be angled as you're turning these
I'm turning franchises
into
around.
Winners.
I'm turning franchises around.
Exactly.
I just cannot wait to experience a true tailgate down
SEC
south.
is awesome, dude. I've been to a couple games down there. Yeah, unbelievable.
I was talking to some kid. He's like, nobody's going to have a clue who you are down there. Like, that's not Chiclets Nation. I said, maybe not. But I'll tell you what all those fucking kids are drinking is Pink goddamn Whitney. They are. So when they find out, oh, that's the Pink Whitney guy, I might fucking look at this thing.
Well, you people listening can't see it.
Staple this thing to my chest and walk around the tailgate like this is me. Nice to meet you.
You should bring a bottle that big, the old Texas Mickey.
Every sorority will be giving you a friggin' pin to pledge them.
Go ahead.
Every sorority will be giving you a pin to pledge with that thing. We're big in sororities.
Never talk to a sorority girl ever.
Attaboy. Put the blinders on. Husband of the year.
This is about friends, football, golf, and booze. Not young
Sounds like
females.
a good time. Speaking of booze, we usually do this guy a little earlier, but we're going to save him for now. Paul, Biz Nasty, Bissonette, Mr. Canada, just ripped up Western Canada all over the place, singing the gospel of Pink Whitney. What's the word, buddy? Talk to us.
Oh, my God. Where do I begin? First of all, what a fucking tour that was. So Witt's gotten a little bit of time off. RA's gotten a little bit of time off. I have gotten less time off, but my vacation starts after this week. We're butting up a few things that we'll get to later, but let's start with the Pink Whitney Tour. I'd already done the 2 dates in Ontario. We went to Toronto. We went to St. Catharines. Awesome time. August 9th, the Western leg began. We did 8 stops in 5 days, and then a week later finished off with 2 in 1 day in Vancouver. We did Langley, and then obviously local local in Gastown. But I actually brought on Pasha. He's coming on the podcast right now. We ended up doing the trip, 6 of us. We had Julia, who manages the Pink Whitney account. She's done such an incredible job. She helped set up the whole tour. They were lugging the miles, and we didn't fly everywhere. We drove everywhere in a truck, bubble wrapped in Pink Whitney details. We had our bumper stolen first day, so we got off to a hot start. But biggest veteran move of all time was inviting Memes and Rick Carlson, who's known as Rick from Red Deer. He will always now be on every trip, I'd imagine. He is such a morale boost. But
Is he really?
Oh my, he came through in the clutch. I was so wrong about this guy, calling him dead weight, and he's useless other than being a blunt roller and a guy there for laughs. He drove most of the trip, whether he was tired or not. He would do all the little things, just an absolute fourth line grinder, in and out of the lineup type of guy. And just folding the towels, filling up the water bottles,
using too many towels because he's East Coast League, right? So he's not grabbing 2 or 3 post shower.
Him and James were sharing a towel. They couldn't even use the depth gel. We wouldn't let them use the deodorant either. But nonetheless, so we started the trip off for August 8th. We landed in Winnipeg and then right away drove over to Brandon. So it was unfortunate as far as logistics. We had to go to Brandon first, but whatever. So we ended up going to Brandon the next afternoon, had a bar appearance, drove back to Winnipeg, did a night bar appearance. Insane atmosphere. You ended up sending
How long is that ride, like to Brandon and back to Winnipeg? Is that like 2 hours each?
I would say 2.5 hours.
Oh.
So then we backtracked. And then after the Winnipeg one, we ended up stopping in Moosomin overnight, which is just inside the border of Saskatchewan. Then we did Regina and Saskatoon that next day. Then we went over to Edmonton. Then we hit up Red Deer and then did 2 appearances in Calgary on the Saturday to finish everything off. And as I mentioned, a full week later, we ended up going to Banff for a couple of days to cool out. And then we finished.
I think you're skipping a couple of details in here, Biz.
No, buddy, there's plenty to get to, Posh. And thank you for joining us. Pasha was there to vlog the entire experience, which we'll be throwing up on the YouTube in the next couple of weeks here. But Posh, like, where do we even begin with some of the shit that happened on this?
Man, it was quite the adventure. I mean, first of all, it's good to be on here, boys. I'm on here for 2 reasons. One, to talk about that crazy adventure we were on, but also to take a bit of the focus off of Grunelli and Biz's noses, because I think my schnoz might give them a run for their money for biggest schnoz on the pod here. So
it is.
You're
yeah,
welcome.
It looks worse on camera too. Yours, what kind of?
You got some pointiness on the end. What the fuck's up with how we all look? Jesus.
Yeah, I think
Why are we so ugly?
We should get a plastic surgeon on the podcast to help us out. We'll get the Botox filling that bum chin of Wits. We'll get a 3-for-1 special. We'll get the love handles taken off of Wit.
I've looked into that ice thing that can burn the fat off. Doesn't work, I guess.
I would say you got a Brian Leach curve on your face. That would be the best example for Pasha.
Think so?
But Pasha, where do we begin? How did this trip start?
Can I ask questions? And then like I think my questions will probably lead to like you guys thinking of other stuff, maybe.
Yeah, please do.
Okay.
So we started
at any moment. Did Biz snap?
Oh yeah.
What did I snap on?
Posh, tell him the driving story.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say. So we fly from Vancouver to Winnipeg. We drive straight to Brandon, spend the night in Brandon, wake up the next day. We have our first event in Brandon. That goes great. And from there, we have to do the drive by ourselves back to Winnipeg. And we have that hot pink truck, which I'm sure you all saw all over social media. Pink Whitney logos everywhere.
Minus the bumper.
The pussy wagon.
Yeah, minus the front bumper, which I guess let's explain that a little bit better. The first morning we wake up and someone's like, oh, the car is missing a bumper. It had been parked in the parking lot of our hotel. Now, we don't know what happened, whether it was delivered like that or overnight someone came and just ripped the bumper right off and, kept it as a piece of memorabilia. But that was a tough start for the car. No bumper right off the hop. So then we finished the event in Brandon. We get the keys to the pink truck. No less than 5 minutes after getting the keys to the pink truck, I'm driving down this side road. And all of a sudden, I see these cop lights come on. And I'm like, oh, my fucking God. So I pull over. The cop comes up. And earlier that day in Brandon, 3 separate cops in cars, on bikes, rolled up to us on the sidewalk. Hey, Biz, how you doing?
Yeah,
like, big fan.
True.
Can I get a photo? 3 separate times.
Police escort to the event because we met the guy at the gas station, one of the cops. Like, you know, everybody was a Chiclets listener.
So you're like, we're good. Even though you're hotboxing the car as he comes out, you're like, we're good, we're good.
No.
Exactly. Cops in a rear view. Biz and I are sitting there being like, just please be a Chiclets fan. Please be a Chiclets fan. And the GoPro's rolling. The whole trip, we had a GoPro rolling on the dash. So I'm sitting there like looking at the GoPro, looking at the cop. The guy walks up. Couldn't give less of a fuck about what Chiclets was, Pink Whitney was. This guy was the biggest hardo. He's like, oh, like you're going, I think it was 125 and a 90, which didn't feel like I was going that fast at all. He goes, license registration. And this is a rental car, right? So Biz and I are kind of scrambling. We like go in, like pulling out the papers out of the dash or whatever, hand it to him. The guy grabs it and he reads. He goes like, black, huh? Because the car had been wrapped in pink. He's just like makes a comment. He's like, black, huh? Goes back to his car, comes back, and you know, we tried it all. We're like, sorry, sir, this car's in miles per hour. You know, we're not used to this.
Pasha offered him a hand job.
Offered him a hand job. The guy was not buying it. He was just nothing. He was like, nope, it's too fast, boys, too fast. Here's your ticket, $500 ticket.
Oh.
And Biz's fucking face, when you guys watch this vlog on the GoPro, I've never seen him look more rattled. He's sitting there just staring forward with the biggest frown on his face. So rattled.
By the way, Pasha, you were driving, correct?
No, I was rattled for you because obviously.
Yeah, that's your ticket.
Pasha was doing a lot of investing during the last couple of years, and he rolled the dice on some stocks, and then he was spending money before it was actually in his pocket. So he's racked up a little credit card debt. So
and the market's crashed.
He's telling me this the day before, so my heart sank for him because I'm like, fuck you, I ain't paying it. 500.
I will tell you the good news, Biz. I looked it up. BC is one of 3 provinces, along with Quebec and Nunavut, that don't share their traffic infringement tickets with other provinces, so you don't have to pay them.
So
as
you're
long
not
as you never get caught. If you get pulled over there again, you're done.
Yeah, but like I don't think I'll ever be driving Winnipeg again, and if I am and I get pulled over, then I'll say fuck it, I'll pay you the $500.
So it doesn't work with the insurance like here. Like it doesn't affect that.
No,
in
so
Canada?
ICBC, which is our insurance in BC, them along with Quebec and Nunavut are not connected to the rest of the province.
ICBC is the biggest fucking joke on the planet as far as BC insurance is concerned. That's a story for another day. But we ended up seeing Mike Sillinger the next day in Regina, and he was like, anywhere other than Manitoba, apparently Manitoba is notorious for having cops that are a little bit like they're hardos. Really? This guy was sitting there waiting in an area where the speed limit went down. Like he was just cocked and loaded, pulled the Yui, and then we got fucked. So not a great way to start the trip, but nonetheless, we went to Winnipeg. What else do you got? What else happened? Nothing really happened that crazy in Winnipeg. Although
I mean, the event itself, that was the craziest event of the whole trip, I would say, and it was a Tuesday night in Winnipeg.
Yeah, I think there was probably about 600 or 700 people who showed up.
No shit.
Oh yeah, buddy. I would say Calgary, Edmonton, and Winnipeg pushed the biggest numbers of the trip. All right, you look like you want to ask something.
Yeah, just for our America listeners, Posh, you said 125 and a 90. What's the conversion rate for the people down south? Like that, you weren't going 125 miles an hour, right? You were doing kilometers, right?
125 kilometers.
No, they said they were confused because the car was in miles per hour.
77 miles.
Okay.
You were going 77?
That's kid stuff.
Oh, you're not getting pulled over around here unless if you're over 80 RA, I'd say you might, but under 80, that's a joke.
That's what
maybe those people from Manitoba are just jealous they're not from Saskatchewan.
Well, I think the hot pink truck didn't really help us, kind of stick out on the road. So might have been a combination of a few things.
So after that, we head over to Moosomin. And we stop at this gas station in the middle of nowhere. And you know what, like everybody from Saskatchewan knows the mosquitoes are unbearable. So obviously the light at this place is just attracting mosquitoes the size of probably pterodactyls would be a good example, Pasha. And we also have all this on video because the GoPro's running and then Pasha had his phone going. So I get out to pump the gas and they're just attacking me. I'm getting bit like crazy. Finally, I just jump in the car while the gas is still pumping.
He's running around, flailing his arms. Just
wow, it's that bad.
Complete yard sale.
One of them picked him up.
20 mosquitoes get in the car in the 2 seconds it takes me to hop in. And I say, I can't do it. And then Rick's like, don't worry, I got it. Ricky Carlson gets out of the car and he stands there and not one mosquito touches him and he doesn't flinch the entire time. And we're just dying laughing in the car, not understanding how this guy's not freaking out. So he finishes pumping the gas. He gets in the car and we're just, we're hysterically laughing. He's like, what's going on? I'm like, how did you not get bit by a mosquito? And he's like, I think I'm immune because of all the mustard that I drink. And we're like, what? So apparently this guy is known where like in bars in London and in Calgary where he used to live, like people like just hand him mustard. He'll just like take mustard shots and chug mustard to the point where later on in the tour, and I thought this guy was completely full of shit, where somebody at one of the events, because we were posting about him, brought mustard, cracks the lid, just starts chugging mustard. Mark Letestu did it in the National Hockey League to fight off cramps. I don't know why Rick from Red Deer's doing it, but he's convinced that helps fight off the mosquitoes to where they won't even bite you. So that was
just wait till you watch the vlog. The contrast of Biz running around like full yard sale, and then Rick is literally standing there not flinching a muscle. It's fucking hilarious.
Rick's breath smells like off, so they're just like, oh, I got to stay away from this guy. I've never heard of somebody drinking mustard in my life. Really, I don't even remember Letestu doing that.
Yeah, he's something else. So what ended up happening after that, Pasha? Like,
Posh, you mentioned to me the Calgary Stampeders game, and that was obviously a video that went pretty viral on our Instagram page of you racing the mascot of the Calgary Stampeders.
I raced the fastest cow in the world, and I fucking smoked them. That's what happened at the Calgary Stampeders game. I'll throw this one over to Pasha because we pissed off a lot of people.
So
really?
So we organized for Biz to race this cow. And, in the whole lead up, we're talking about, how big of a head start's he going to get. And we get there.
The cow or Biz?
Biz.
Me, this guy's he's on the juice like all the rest of the cows on the planet.
Yeah, this guy apparently like very rarely loses. So Biz is like, I want a 20-yard head start or whatever. And the media guy, in the pregame is kind of like, that's a pretty big head start, man, or whatever. We end up deciding on 12, right? Because that was your number, Biz?
Because my number, yeah.
Because your number. And he goes, and he kind of whispers to us, he goes, boys, when the guy goes on your marks, get set, go. He goes, as soon as he says get set, I'm fucking going. And we're all like, okay, perfect. So Biz gets the 12-yard head start. Guy goes, ready, get set. Biz flies off. And the crowd kind of is a little bit stunned.
They were pissed.
Like, okay, here we go. So Biz is going down the hill, going down the field. The cow starts kind of closing the gap on him, but obviously it's too much to overcome. So Biz wins the race. Starts selling, kind of fake wrestling the cow. Then we kind of start hearing some boos out of the crowd. And we're walking by. And all of a sudden, this like one old guy is like yelling at Biz. He's like, "You're an asshole. You're a cheater.
Fucking cheater. You fucking cheater."
Wow, he's right,
like,
though.
85 years old with his walker, just losing
He's
it.
a man of principle.
But Biz at first is kind of thinking maybe he's joking. He's like, check the tapes. Like, prove it. This guy's like not remotely smiling. He's like, fuck off, you asshole. You're a cheater. Fuck off. And then we find out afterwards that everybody in the stands wins a prize if the cow wins the race. So Biz cheated all these guys out of a prize. That's why everybody was so pissed.
Well, so is it totally normal, though, that whoever he races gets a head start?
Oh, yeah.
So that's not the cheating part. It's that you left early.
So I think Brian McGrattan raced them head up and then lost and then
ate him.
And then he suckered him in the parking lot. So then the next time they went, I think he took the 10 yards. So I got the 2 extra yards and a little bit of a false start. And before the game, they got me hyping up the crowd. I was chirping the BC Lions bench and stuff. So overall, it was a fucking great time.
That place was packed.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was for CFL. They get a great crowd. Anybody out west, I mean, I think out west draws a lot better than the eastern side of Canada. We also forgot to mention that Ryan Reeves stopped by the appearance in Winnipeg, another thing that elevated the crowd. And I ended up going head to head with him in that punching the bag game that they have in all these bars around the country. Do you know what thing I'm talking about?
You? Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
No, I fucking.
That's what I thought. Went.
You got him on you're talking the one you can like step into and then it's like with the score.
Oh yeah.
You got Revo,
buddy,
hometown.
So let's go over this. First time we ever fought in the National Hockey League, I would say I got the edge. He was a call up where he was going up and down his first year in St. Louis. We all know what happened the next time I fought at the Scotts Trade Center. That's the only video I ever see on the internet. I never see the one where I got the slight edge. Well, guess what? I fucking beat him in that game. So I'm up 2-1. So Revo, when you retire, maybe we could settle this at Rough and Rowdy, you fuck. Bring it, buddy.
I'll tell you what, I need you involved in a Rough and Rowdy, dude. I need you.
Revo, I'm kidding. I would never fight you in a Rough and Rowdy. He wants it. He wants a Rough and Rowdy as soon as he's retired.
Really?
Oh yeah. We should actually probably talk a little bit about the Rough and Rowdy before we get back to the tour. RA, did you end up checking it out the other day?
Oh, absolutely. I tell everybody when we're pumping up online, the best $30 you'll spend, the entertainment factor is through the roof. If you're sitting around with a few boys, spend $5-6 each. The announcing's great. The fights are great. And shout out to Alex Bennett, man. This girl, she didn't have to do it. She got out of her comfort zone, and she rocked that girl for 3 straight rounds. I thought she was going to gash herself out and get rope-a-doped. She just kept throwing shots. Decisive victory. So shout out to Alex Bennett. She looked fantastic with the Pink Whitney threads, too. Gee, what do you got?
No, I was just going to say in the Pink Whitney threads, it was awesome. They had the Pink Whitney gloves, the Pink Whitney robe. So it's just great to see Alex win.
Doesn't allow her husband to jerk off.
I mean, if you want to dive into the jerk
that's
off,
the fucking craziest thing of all time. You take the Rough and Rowdy win, unbelievable job. Her husband can't rub one out.
So there
are you guys? Reactions.
Buddy,
I saw that clip.
Buddy, I put one on my belly button every single fucking day. Like, I mean, but I'm also willing to have a conversation about it. What studies are saying is that it fucks with your head, right? Watching people have sex and tugging it off to that, not allowing him
but
to not allow him to tug off at all, even to memory, is absolutely absurd. The not memory. The old spank bank, get the USB going, just like torts, the old dump and chase. But what they're saying though is watching people have sex and constantly jerking off to porn can fuck with your head, and it also desensitizes you to regular sex with your partner.
1,000% in agreement. It creates these ridiculous, unreal expectations and views on sex. Having said that, to literally be like, you can't rub your cornhole and your horn at the same time to pleasure yourself is bananas. Banana lands.
I don't think that was based off the studies either, Biz. I don't think that's the reason she's saying.
I love these studies too. I imagine Biz's study. We should have Biz do a written book report and study.
Yeah, they had the Instagram thing. It said, "Do you let your man masturbate, or should you let your man masturbate?" And I replied in the comments, I'm like, "Should you let your man breathe oxygen?" It's like, that's like, you're a guy. Of course you're gonna rub one out. That's absolute crazy talk.
He also might be the type of guy where she walks him around in like a dog leash too. Like
I mean, I send my wife videos of me throwing a towel on the bed when I get to the hotel room with Thunderstruck playing in the background. Like, game on, dude.
Do you actually? You throw a TikTok? And then
the other girl on that show is on OnlyFans. Barstool's fucking wild right now.
Whoa. Dude, she got the bag.
Dude, she's making 60 G's a month. I listen to Portnoy show.
Are they
doing
showing
OnlyFans, and she's not even showing off her tits.
Jordan?
Yeah.
Jordan.
She doesn't show tits and she makes 60 grand. What's she showing?
Yeah. Like,
not sure.
She said pictures. She said Instagram pictures. And these Muppets are paying $30 a month, dude.
So call me old school. There's not a chicken dick's chance in hell I would ever pay to watch somebody whip out their tits, show me their pussy, whatever it may be. I have buddies who will try to like approach women, like get dates and like hook up with chicks, where if they get shut down, they'll, like, obviously if they're following them on Instagram, if they post an OnlyFans, they will then pay to go see what that person looks like naked, just to kind of say, okay, I've already seen them naked, I guess I don't need to chase it anymore. Up to like $50 for a roll of pictures of where they might show like a pierced nipple. Like, they're not even showing themselves jamming them. They're not posting videos of them jamming themselves with dildos or anything. $50 to see a pierced nipple? Get the fuck out of here. This OnlyFans thing is an absolute joke. And people talk about the real estate prices. I am convinced that all these people, mainly women, since OnlyFans has been created, the wealth transfer has inflated property beyond belief among everything else. That I am convinced that has played a part. Think about, since COVID began, how many servers or people who might not otherwise have joined OnlyFans took a step up and started doing it.
Do you think these people, like, obviously Jordan is like on a very popular podcast and part of Barstool. Like, what if it's just like some normal waitress at local from in the Gaslight, whatever in Vancouver? People don't know them.
Buddy, I'm telling you this right now, rather than them have to go work a shift, 4 or 5 days a week and wait tables and blah, blah, blah. I bet you a girl with 10,000 Instagram followers can make the same income showing off her pierced nipple on OnlyFans and probably make somewhat to equivalent of the same amount of money. I understand.
Biz, what would it take? What money would you have to guarantee yourself on a yearly earning basis to show cock shots and like yourself hammering like pocket pussies? Honestly, like a legitimate X-rated OnlyFans. Is that a no money you'll ever do it? Or if somebody's giving you, if you got $1 million a year, are you releasing 2 videos of you cranking it per week?
If you asked me this question, I was playing in the American League for 125, having to fight fucking Jeremy Yablonski. I'd probably say I'd let a dude shove a dick in my ass for a per diem pack. But I'm just fucking getting bukkake
for an Outback.
Hey, remember,
gift card. Give me a blooming onion.
Hey, you remember Biz? Yeah, he's getting fucking jizzed on OnlyFans now.
Yeah, remember that guy Biz that Yablonski knocked out?
But he's got the Daytona X on. So, I mean.
Turns out he's blowing guys with a Gimp costume on at OnlyFans.
just fucking getting thrown around.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God.
Oh, Biz is doing great.
Oh, geez.
Doing great.
Remember Biz from the AHL? Yeah.
He got dropping the map of Hawaii on his back twice a week, but he's making money.
Yeah, you get a dick chopped off, and he's taking dick now for OnlyFans. Where were we? So Whit, I would not do anything now. Like I would not.
Yeah, me neither would I.
Yeah. So,
speaking of this, kind of, just about what's tonight? What's Saturday? I watched that Manti Te'o documentary.
Oh, I watched the first episode. It was I knew the whole story. And
but I thought I knew the whole story, or I knew the story, but like, man, I couldn't help but feel kind of bad for him. Like,
he was railroaded, man. He got so fucked.
Did me saying chopping off my dick remind you of that?
I was thinking, I don't know why I was thinking about this.
It's because I said I was going to chop my dick off, and then you thought of the
guy who chopped his dick off,
yeah,
who's now a girl who catfished him. Yeah, you're right.
Okay,
maybe that's what it was. But
might have been just
if you catfish someone, you are a tormented, evil, fucked up person. Like, seeing how that was going down, and like, oh my God. And I do understand there was no such thing. Nobody even knew what that was then, dude. Well, there wasn't even Twitter then, was there?
There was, yeah.
Let's catfish G.
Every time I get a text from someone that like pretends to be a future guest on Spittin Chiclets, I'm always like, I told Merles this, I think it's Foley. I always think Foley's
I was just going to say, I bet you Foley has like 10 boyfriends online. That's how sick that guy is as far as pranking. We got to get Pasha back on here to wrap up this tour. I fucking ran Revo's show, and who knows, maybe he will get a title shot at Rough and Rowdy, but I'm up 2-1 in the series, so suck on that, Revo. But thank you to him. And Scott Oak's kid ended up coming out, the magician. I forget his first name. Do you remember it, Pasha?
No.
God damn it, I feel like an asshole now. He was on America's Got Talent, and he went pretty far. He might have even won the thing. But ran into Mike Keane when we were in Winnipeg as well. He talked to us about his charity for mental health. I think it all kind of started because of Rick Rippon and his time when he played with the Manitoba Moose. So shout out to Mike Keane and what he's doing. They have a charity game that they throw on in March. I told him I would do everything I can in order to get back, but our schedule is pretty crazy. And I do think that the game is on a Wednesday, which usually falls on a TNT broadcast day. So if you're around the Winnipeg area, check out Mike Keane in his charity game and try to go over and show support for a tremendous cause. Ran into a couple of my old teammates, Rajan Boschman and Andrew Penner in Winnipeg. Rajan Boschman, who works for RBC now, unreal guy, brought me a nice bottle of champagne in which we celebrated with 2 days later for Ricky Carlson's fake birthday at a Cactus Club, his fake 21st birthday. 19. So we were having tons of silly fun. And I'll throw it back over to you, Pasha. I can't really remember anything else that stuck out that was that funny on the trip, or unless they're going to catch it in the blog.
I mean, yeah, there's going to be tons of little funny bits in the vlog you're going to catch, just the whole adventure, the camera rolling, the GoPro for every car ride, the little conversations. I think there was 2 separate times where Ricky was talking about how he used to be like a professional driver for a BMW dealership. And then within 3 seconds of saying that, like, smoked a curb. So just like little things like that, the organic moments that happen across the adventure are going to make for a really good vlog. And then all the Pink Whitney events were a great success. I think all in all, the tour was 10 out of 10.
When's that vlog going to come out? Sorry, Biz. Do we know yet or no?
Probably, I'm guessing late next week sometime.
Nice. I'm looking forward to that.
So everybody subscribe to our Spittin Chiclets YouTube channel to check that out. We're going to be talking about more original stuff that's going to be coming out. September 19th, we're actually going to be releasing a sandbagger the day before we come back on. It was filmed in Buffalo. Pasha's going to be working on that in the meantime. And I think that wraps up the Pink Whitney Tour. Got to thank Julia. Got to thank Connor as well for those. Those are the huge. Those are the two who were lugging around all the stuff that had to be set up at each event, capturing all the content that we needed to post through Pink Whitney channels. So Barstool, Sam from Gallo, Julia, Connor, and then of course Ricky Carlson memes and Pasha and everybody who showed up. Of course, all the fans. There were a few poopy pants fans who maybe didn't get enough time. Oh, dude, I had one guy in Saskatoon wheel right up at the end of the event, double barrel fucking fuck you finger right in my face.
Wow.
He might have had a Pink Whitney t-shirt on that we gave away for free. I'd already been to his table to deliver free shots. His complaint was I just simply didn't come by their table for long enough. And there's sometimes 500 people there. So you're just like, there might even been people that I didn't say hi to. So it sucks, right? You're trying to snap the time around, go from table to table, make sure you say hello to everybody, give them a free shot, try to get them a free piece.
So there was no joking. It was a straight up double bird, like full blown
fuck you, walk away. I walked up to the table. I said, buddy, like, what's the problem? He's like, I spent $140 and you didn't come over and talk to us. I'm like, but I know I dropped off a shot at this table. Everyone seems to have a free t-shirt on. Like, I'm sorry. I said, you want me to pay for your meal? Like I'll pay for your meal. Like, I don't know what to tell you, man. Like it's fucking 9:30. I was supposed to leave here at 9:00. I have a rule. I said, I'm not leaving usually at least 30 minutes before the event's over. So nobody can be like, oh, you just showed up for the 2 hours and then left.
No, you stay an extra 30, you mean?
Extra 30.
Yeah.
How did I say it? Did I say I leave 30 minutes?
I think you worded it like 30 minutes before the event was over or something. But I know what you mean. Yeah, I mean, that's just a guy who's probably just has pictures of you all over his bedroom. He didn't get to like...
Hey, how about
your
this
Halloween tattattoo up close and personal for long enough?
If he sends me a DM, I'll send him a free big deal. Shot. I'll show him the fucking Fermundo cheese underneath my foreskin. I'll send him a
No, you got to save that for OnlyFans, Biz. Come on.
That's true.
That's true. Come on, we're gonna make you.
I'll actually save that for the idiot fans online saying the Kadri deal was too expensive. Shut the fuck up. Go Flames. And hey, if he DMs me, I'll send him a big deal brewing merch package. How about that to make it even for the 140 you spent? And I didn't get to hear your terrible story.
Yeah, that's
more than fair.
Brutal to complain. Hey boys, you just mentioned Pink Whitney. Well, the Great White North just got doused with the 5 times distilled vodka infused with fresh pink lemonade flavor. Great to see Biz pouring it all over Western Canada. So if you're home, go to your local package store. Go to your local liquor store, load up on the old Pink Whitney, the old birdie juice. Go to your bar, get a shot, mix it with a little club soda, whatever. Summer's still here. Got a few weeks left to enjoy it. And you know what? Fall's going to be here right around the corner. Hockey season, Pink Whitney, get at it. It's the good stuff. Posh, Biz, there's some sort of New Jersey bet you wanted to talk about here, Biz?
No, we're not. Listen, okay. we're gonna put that on hold.
All right.
But this delusional idiot who's been telling me the future's bright with the okay, Pasha, here's your chance.
We have a bet too.
You're a fucking clown, Biz. But yeah, Whit and I have a bet as well.
No, Pasha, you're a clown. Pasha, you're a clown.
No,
you're the clown.
You are the clown.
No, Pasha. What is this? Biz, I want to hear it. I already know.
I think we should give him 2 minutes in the box and he can talk and tell us why we should be sold on this New Jersey team that hasn't done shit for I don't know how long.
Sure.
And all of a sudden I'm supposed to believe that the future's bright. What fucking future? They ain't going to make playoffs the next 5 fucking years.
Okay, so last year their 2 biggest problems. One was goaltending. They had the second worst goaltending in the NHL behind Seattle. So that's fucking tough. With an .881 save percentage, you can't be winning games.
Yeah.
Blackwood got hurt. They got Corey Crawford to be their backup. He retired before he even played. And then
he got traded there.
Yeah, because he fucking looked at the lineup in front of him.
Corey Crawford? No, he signed there.
Oh, yeah.
I know. And then he saw them play for a month, and then he said, fuck this. Hand in my papers. Give me my severance package.
So they were dressing John Gillies and Nico Dawes last year and getting shelled. So that's their biggest problem, which I think they addressed 2 things. Blackwood's back and healthy. I think they're going to give him one last crack to be what he was supposed to be. But I think he's on thin ice. That's why they brought in Vitek Vanacek, who at first thought, I remember G sent me the tweet when they traded for him. I was kind of like, ugh. I was hoping for a guy like Kemper, one of the bigger names. But once I looked into it, Vanacek, I think, will be a really solid 1B. He had the 7th best 5-on-5 save percentage in the league last year. So he was right up there with the big dogs. He's a solid guy. I'm not saying their goaltending is 10 out of 10, but it's going to be very much improved from last year because it literally couldn't have gotten worse. The second thing is the power play. They had the 5th worst power play in the league. They got rid of Mark Recchi. So that's going to have a new look to it. And you look at guys like Jack Hughes. He was on pace for 94 points. Jesper Bratt, 73 points. And that's on a team that had one of the worst power plays in the league. You know, that's not going to go to number 1 in the league. But even if that comes up to middle of the pack, that's a lot more points. That's some more wins for the team. So I think those 2 things were addressed. Another thing was grit. Okay, they were not a very grit factor. They were not a very tough and gritty team. They get back Miles Wood, who missed all of last year. That's a guy who can fucking skate, who can.
I'd let him dummy me on OnlyFans.
Oh yeah, I would too.
They get guys like Palat and Halla who can score, but also can throw the body around. Brendan Smith's a tough guy, so they've gotten bigger. They've gotten a little tougher. So those are 3 areas that I think they addressed pretty well. Obviously, Gaudreau would have helped. Obviously, another one of those big names would have helped. But I'd like.
So they make it playoffs?
My honest opinion is it's going to come down to the wire, and it's a coin flip.
Wow.
How many forwards did you mention? 2 forwards? Who the fuck else they got up front?
Yeah, Woods bringing the grit, and then they got Jesper Bratt, and they got Jack Hughes.
They got a lottery team.
They got a lottery team.
There'll be a lottery team, 100%.
Hey, you and Frank the Tank should do a podcast.
You lick my cornhole on OnlyFans. I'll hold my legs up.
Oh, you can give Biz the Reebok earrings on OnlyFans if they're a lottery team.
Fuck off.
What's the Reebok earrings?
Oh, hey, you just give her the Reebok earrings.
I've never heard that term.
When your legs are above your head.
That's what they call that?
You could call them the Nike earrings. You could call them the Hoka earrings for those new Hokas people rock around. You could call them the Louis Vuitton earrings. Isn't that a type of shoe? I got a couple of those red bottom Louis Vuittons, the most uncomfortable shoes I've ever bought in my life.
Yeah, I'll put on Louboutin high heels for you, Posh. We'll get the Louboutin earrings going.
Is it Louboutin?
Louboutin. Boys, I'll leave it at this.
Fuck the Devils.
They're the youngest team in the league. They're 25 years on average. Youngest team in the league. Look at the other teams in their division. Oldest teams in the league. Washington, Islanders, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh are 4 of the top 6 oldest teams. Okay, so they're headed downwards. Devils are headed upwards. That's why I'm saying in 2 years, when they got that with Luke Hughes on the back end, that Simone Nemeth kid they drafted 2nd overall. Those are the 2 of the top, I'd say 3 or 4 best D prospects in the league. I say in 2 years from now, the window is going to open. Once Jack Hughes matures more, Bratt matures more, Hughes and Nemeth on the squad.
Remember, in all the prospects, 2 amazing D prospects, I'll give you that. And Jack Hughes is a stud. They don't have a goalie, dude. They do not have a goalie. And when you talk about the window opening, get a goalie, and then we can talk.
Sure.
Because look at the Rangers and look at all these other teams. They have goalies.
RA, you busy?
Yeah.
I mean, I saw your game at the Chiclets Cup in Detroit. I mean, keep your phone on. You just The way that Fitzgerald's been signing guys, you might end up getting a 7-year deal at $8 million right behind.
You're a fucking joke, dude. He's done
connection.
A great job.
I'll dust off the pads I'll take the Buffalo special, Biz. Fucking $750.
So
I will say, wait, we should talk about our bet because I want to see what the public thinks about it. So Whit and I bet.
I don't love this bet now.
Will Jack Hughes get 100 points in any of the next 3 seasons? I say yes. Whit says no.
I love Pasha's side there. I love Pasha's.
Wait, you want to take some more action? I'd jump on with that.
Hey,
guys, you guys are making 100 points sound like a fucking walk in the park, dude. And you know what the biggest part of getting 100 points is?
Healthy.
Staying healthy. And I haven't seen him able to stay healthy yet. It makes me look like a non-Jack Hughes fan, which is unfortunate because I actually love the guy's game. But you just, if I could take this bet back, would I? Yeah. But I'm still like, wait a minute. Pasha was talking about, he's going to get 100 points, no problem. It's like, dude. Now, last year, so many guys got 100 points that it was kind of eye-opening in a sense of like, is that how this
I think last year it happened because of more fatigue and more breakdowns because the schedule was condensed. That's my theory on last season.
I just, more than anything, 1, I was drinking, and 2, I always want to argue you, and 3, like the way you made it sound like it was such a guarantee he's getting 100 points. I got a little over my skis.
I don't think it's a guarantee. I agree with you. I think health is the biggest thing. I just look at
if it was the next 2 years, I'd be way more happier. 3 years from now, he might get like 100.
I know he ain't doing it this year because he's going down with a groin injury from plowing all those rockets at the white party in the Hamptons. I saw all of his stories and stuff. He's living the life, that kid.
Yeah, you think all those kids are like Zegras, Caulfield, the Hughes brothers. Jesus Christ. I was thinking about OnlyFans selling used Abercrombie shirts.
We should have a separate podcast just talking to these guys about their DMs. Which famous checkmark ladies are sliding into their DMs.
I'm sure they'd love to disclose that.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I'm sure they're going to sign up for that.
If they grew a sack and they wanted to grow,
we'll tell them we'll never release it.
Look at the NBA. All of them just crushed the Kardashian sisters, and all of a sudden the revenue's been tripled.
Biz, that Mike Sillinger was telling us that his son Cole's dating that Tate McRae now.
That kid's a stud. That kid is a stud. Not just on the ice. Like, I was going through his Instagram. He's got it going.
So, I don't know if you heard the story in RA, how they met. I think during an interview, he was asked about like who he's crushing on. And she's a Canadian country singer who's moved down to LA to continue her career?
I think they're both from Saskatoon.
Right. Okay. So both
she's
from
blowing up though. She's definitely blowing up.
Oh yeah. Like he showed me her Instagram and like she's got it. She's a star.
And 2 million followers.
Yeah, you could see in her videos she loves performing. So good for him. I hope they get married. That's a power couple. All right, I think we've talked about the New Jersey Devils enough. Pasha, you're still a scrub. Although I thank you.
Fuck you.
I thank you from the bottom of my heart for all the effort you've put in the past. To help grow this podcast. I appreciate you coming along that journey across Western Canada to vlog the experience. Pasha's going to be coming back on later in the podcast to talk about some stuff we have done in the past, which we'll be re-releasing on our Spittin Chiclets YouTube, as well as those commercials, the Y-Buy commercials that we've had on deck for about 3-4 years now. But we're going to talk some hockey. So you can take a little stroll, maybe a few down and backs, Pasha, and we're going to talk hockey, and we'll bring you back on later and discuss all that shit.
Sounds good, boys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Attaboy, Pasha.
You got it, bud. See you in a bit. Well, I'm in Canada, as I said earlier, Biz, and they were celebrating quite a bit. Mason McTavish, the latest World Junior hero, made one of the greatest saves in, I guess, hockey history. Just in the crease, backhands it out. Canada comes down, scores, wins the 3-2 in overtime, beats the Finns. Just an unreal game. But is it me or did it just seem like it didn't have the usual buzz? I know it's August. We're used to having it around Christmas time. And even up here, I was talking to people, and some guys were like, was the game the other night? It just didn't seem like there was many people watching as usual. Did you get that feeling, Biz?
Yes. So factors involved. Guys who were drafted, very elite players that would have elevated the play, didn't participate at the chance that they can go to training camp and maybe make a team. Why get injured in August playing in a tournament in which at this point in your career, it doesn't mean enough. Some people say, represent your guys. Getting injured before going to the National Hockey League for kind of like a makeup tournament, not ideal. Second thing, price of tickets, which people are forced to buy packages that don't want to show up to round robin games. Like check against, Slovakia or and no offense to these teams. It's just in the summertime, people want to get out and see the sun, which in Edmonton only comes out for about 3 months of the year anyway. They weren't going to the round robin games. Even Team Canada's games looked a little bit lackluster. Did they show up in the gold medal game? It looked awesome, incredible atmosphere. The game was Canada was up 2-0. They blow the lead. It ends up going to overtime. McTavish has a turnover. It goes back the other way. Finns almost end it. And like you said, RA, one of the biggest heritage moments in a World Junior for Team Canada ever. And then they go back down the other way and score. Awesome finish and great confidence you talk about guys who potentially might be taking that next step who did end up playing. McTavish. This guy, he's got to be getting steroid shots in his ass. This guy's a full-grown man playing against boys. And a great kid. Ended up going to they won the OHL championship with Hamilton. He ends up going to the Mem Cup. I think they went to the finals, lost in the finals, but an awesome kid who I would imagine with the roster they have is able to play for the Anaheim Ducks this season. So look out for that young roster in Anaheim with the guys that they got. Who knows if they end up being a lottery team and they sneak in Bedard, that is probably the most up and coming team to watch in the National Hockey League.
I just saw
that's where you could actually say the future's bright, not like the Devils, Pasha, you fucking moron.
Zegras and Drysdale changed their numbers, 46-11 for Zegras, and I don't know what Drysdale was, but he's going to number 6. So they got over those training camp numbers they give the kids, right, Biz? It's like, oh, take this number. Boom, now they get to pick theirs. I'm with you. That McTavish, it was probably the best save in the history of the World Junior Tournament. It was nuts. It looked like it still might have gone in, and then you saw the slow motion replay. No chance it went in, and just an unreal sequence of events. I couldn't believe it. It was a joke of a tournament. I mean, I felt so bad for scouts who had to go up there in August. Like, why are they even playing that tournament? I think the main reason is all the TV deals that had already been sold and things like that, money already spent. They kind of had to. But I didn't watch one thing, and then I turned on the start of the third period of that game and enjoyed it immensely because that was wild.
I would say another thing, too, just because the last couple of years with COVID, these scouts do need to see these kids play. There was a long period of time. So the evaluation and who you're going to be drafting, I think that's pivotal for the guys who are up for this year to get that early scouting in, see how they do against really good competition, who's been keeping in shape. And then, of course, moving into the year where they'll have a full season to scout these kids to give them the proper grades that they need. Bobby Mack needs to see these kids play so he can give us the scout report.
Bobby Mack's crushing Bobby Margaritas on this lake house porch.
Also, no Ruskies either, too. There was no Russian team. That probably made it a little bit easier for whoever they would have played. Shout out to Kent Johnson on the game winner. And what would have been wild, I was watching the game. If that goal counted, and I was like, oh, my God, if Canada scores here, but that Finland goal actually counted, it would have been insane because they would have had to go back. And if that crossed the line, it would have been the biggest fucking song in World Juniors history. But,
and as Whit said, if my aunt had a cock, she'd be my uncle.
Yeah, exactly. There you go, buddy. All right, moving right along. Nazem Kadri finally signed. He ends up signing with Calgary. 7 years, $49 million. He's got a no-move clause for the first 4 years, a modified no-trade clause for the last 3. The Avs reportedly offered him 4 years, $24 million. The Islanders apparently offered the same deal as the Flames. Flames obviously needed some cap room, so they traded Sean Monahan in a conditional first to Montreal for future considerations. He's got 1 year left at $6.375. And then they extended Jonathan Huberdeau, 8 years, $84 million, comes out to 10.5 AAV. So Calgary loses Tkachuk, Gaudreau, and Monahan. They add Huberdeau, Kadri, and Uyghur for at least this 1 year. I know a lot of people, they're better this year, better than last year. Is that kind of a foolish argument, or do you think there's some validity to it? Whit, we'll go to you.
I think there's some big-time validity to it. I looked at it. I kind of think Huberdeau and Gaudreau are pretty close to fair trade-offs. You know what I mean? In terms of losing Gaudreau and gaining Huberdeau, both elite playmakers, 100-point guys. Maybe you take Huberdeau. I don't know. That one's tough. Kadri and Tkachuk, I think Tkachuk's a better player, mainly because he's younger, mainly because I think he's a little better offensively. Obviously, Kadri had a huge year last year, but he's on the best team in the league by a mile. So, in the end, I would say that Calgary maybe isn't as good, but what they did with how it looked for a minute there, shout out to Brad Treliving because he's done a phenomenal job. Now, I don't know if they can get Uyghur re-signed with the fucking locker room they have and the view of him seeing that dump of a locker room. Oh, my God. It looked like one of the comments is it's a junior B room. It's like, whatever.
I'd rather get dressed in the closet RA's in right now.
Hey, leave Greg's office alone. He's a good
Yeah, no offense, Greg.
But Kadri to go there, it makes the Battle of Alberta reborn in a sense that when they lost both those guys this summer, I was like, oh, man, we might really truck them all year. And now it's like, holy shit. Like, you lost Tkachuk, but you gained another friggin' devil out on the ice in Kadri. And I was so surprised. I thought as this Kadri thing went on and on, it was going to be the same when it was Paul Mary and somebody else signing the Islanders. And I thought the Islanders were going to announce his signing in like 2 weeks. Remember they did that? Remember Lou did that and I don't remember the other guy with Paul Mary.
It was Parise as well.
Yeah, you're right. So I was surprised by Calgary. I know, Biz, maybe you've mentioned it to me or I'd read it, but still, I did not see that coming. I mean, and for Huberdeau to sign that extension without even playing there, I was kind of surprised by that too.
Well, I mean, buddy, I don't let's be real here. I think that was such a good price where he's like, fuck, I'm probably not going to, I basically have to have a season like last year, given my age, to match that. Why not just sign the deal now? And then who knows, maybe, down the road in a couple of years, once the teams, maybe if they are heading in the wrong direction, he can ask out at that point. But just going back to Treliving and what he's able to do to revive this team, where the heart of the team was literally ripped out of its chest come free agency, and he fucking replaced it. Yeah. He completely replaced it. And you could even argue that the team overall got better. And I'm not saying that. I do agree with you. I think that Tkachuk at this age and what he was able to do last year is a superior player, but you're also paying him over $2 million more. And you're also addressing, if you're Calgary, the strength down the middle, where now you got Lindholm as the one center, and then you got Kadri as a second center, much like he kind of had to play in Colorado, where we all know that if Kadri has those type of matchups, he can also worry about killing penalties and adding to the power play and helping out with the other intangibles that he brings as even a shutdown guy. Buddy, for $7 million, when the cap goes up in 3 years, when idiots online were trying to say that this is going to turn into a bad deal, keep fucking smoking whatever you're smoking. This is a tremendous deal to land a guy and revive your team, to give them hope that they can go, not even repeat what they did last year, but fucking go past the Oilers. They're better than the Oilers now.
Well, I wouldn't go that far, but I wouldn't go that far, Biz. I wouldn't go that far.
On top of that, they add another defenseman in which they didn't have. I say that the two guys up front are the guys that they replaced with. I would say it's dead even. Huberdeau had over 100 points last year. I think he finished top 5 in scoring. Him and Gaudreau even. I just talked about what the Kadri brings. Okay, let's give slight edge to Tkachuk in that one and maybe what he brings. But Kadri's got that same fire in his belly and irritates opposing players. Probably he
does, but he doesn't have the offensive side that Tkachuk has. It's good, but it's not what Tkachuk has. But in terms of the ratness, yes.
But then you would also look on the defensive side of it, where I would say that Kadri adds more to keeping the puck out of your net. So it becomes a wash. Now you saw how tough of a time they had in playoffs when they lost Tanev. Gaudreau come on and addressed it. So now look at who you got. You got Hanifin, you got Uyghur, you got Tanev, you got Anderson. That is a solid top 4. I haven't even talked about Shillington. And Shillington, who can fucking move, and he's young, and he's just going to get better. This team is just as good, if not better. I am so fired up, and who knows? I'm not saying it's going to happen, but we may, in fact, run back that bet next year.
Buddy.
Oh, yeah.
I had about fucking 500 tweets. Redo the battle. I'm like, dude, I can't go.
It was a stressful time.
I don't think
it was a stressful time.
Let's talk around Thanksgiving. American Thanksgiving is a big time basis point, or whatever the fuck the term is, for the NHL season.
So let's just cap it off with a double barrel wrister to Brad Treliving.
Yeah, great job.
Put the mascara on. Welcome back, Flames fans. Maybe now the city will step up and pay for the fucking cement for the sidewalks and get them a new rink and a new locker room so they can keep locking up these free agents. Brad Treliving, the fact that he did that with that locker room, he should win GM of the year right now. Right now.
Considering the lack of leverage with Tkachuk that he pulled that off, very impressive. So if you're a Flames fan, man, you were crying a while back, and now you're looking pretty good. Speaking of the Flames, legend Mike Vernon will be joining us a little later. We talked to him a while back. Conn Smythe winner, 2-time Cup winner with Detroit and Calgary, but we got a few more notes to get to as well. My team, the Bruins, they're getting the band back together for one last kick at the can. Everybody was waiting on Krejci, Bergeron. I guess they talked over at Lake Como. Tuukka's wedding, by the way, looked like a fucking absolute slobber knocker. He was tearing it up on the dance floor. Krejci, 1 year, $1 million. Bergeron, 1 year, $2.5 million. And I honestly, I got a text from somebody who doesn't send me bullshit that Luch could be coming back because
oh my God.
Calgary had to get rid of Doe, but they dumped Monahan's money. Now I don't know if that's still going to happen or if it was how much in process it was, but Calgary's still only $2 million below the cap. If they need a little bit more room, I don't know, man. I would love to see it happen. I know Luch is happy there, but he does have a modified no trade clause, so he can't not get traded if they want to trade him to dump his salary, but. The Bruins got pushed around so fucking much the last two playoffs. It sickens me to watch their guys get face washed, but I don't want anyone fighting. I would rather see my grandparents' sex tape than Bergeron drop his fucking gloves because don't want to see that at
he's
all.
Not going to be fighting.
I'll make you a promise. If they get back Lucic, I'll fuck my mattress on OnlyFans.
Yes.
And I'll pop a 20 milligram Cialis before I do it.
Yeah, I would do that too if I were you. Maybe they make it look a little bigger than it actually is.
Yeah.
Listen,
the fisheye lens on.
I did want to shout out quickly. We quickly glanced over. Great job by Ken Hughes in Montreal to grab a first rounder and take on 1 year of Monahan's deal. Yeah. That was phenomenal work by him. And in terms of the Bruins, it's weird. It's like, it's awesome. Krejci's coming back and the Bergeron's get the one more year, and who knows about Lucic, but I mean, they're not even a lock to make the playoffs. The fucking team, half the team's going to be out till Christmas, it seems like, or at least November. You got Marchand coming off injury. You got McAvoy coming off surgery. You got Grzelcyk coming off surgery. Yes, Krejci will be back. Bergeron will be back. But after that, I mean, maybe they're able to kind of tread water. The team gets healthy as 2023 comes. They go on a run. They get in the playoffs. You never know. But it's also tough as a Bruins fan to look if you're a diehard season ticket holder and say, "Oh, what'd you do this offseason? Oh, we brought back a 38-year-old that used to play for us." I mean, it's like they didn't really do anything.
The Athletic.
I think you should get shanked in the streets of Boston for being so kind of negative about this topic.
I'm being honest. I'm not a Bruins fan. You don't think there's Bruins fans out there disappointed with the offseason?
How could you be possibly upset about the fact that your captain and leader came back at the discount he came back at?
That's great.
Which I mean, you want to dive into like, what does that make you feel as a fan, RA, when this guy says, "I'll take $2.5 million to come back"? Probably ensures that Krejci's coming back, although that probably had a lot to do with the fact that Bruce Cassidy wasn't back. And I think that more of those types of rumblings seem to be coming out as to the reason why Krejci ended up leaving.
He actually poo-pooed that in his press conference. He said, no, it had nothing to do with that. He said Cassidy had no bearing on it. And I don't know if he had his mind up made before that, but I guess Bergeron said to him in Italy, like, let's want to go one more time. And he said, yeah, no, I don't know if that was the last thing he heard to make him sign, but he pretty much shit on that Cassidy stuff because Cassidy didn't like the young guys. He didn't have a really problem with the veterans. So I think he just wanted to play over and check for a year. And listen to it, the guy's still
so Krejci agreed to this when they were crippled on the dance floor.
Yeah, when Tuukka was doing
like, dude, did you see Bruins diehard Grinelli's hat? We have to go back and give it a go.
Gee, what were you going to say? I know you want to jump in there a second ago.
I was just going to say I'm 100% on Biz's side. There was nothing else this team could have done this offseason. Like, what else could they have done that could have made this team better than what they have going into next season?
Well, also, other than maybe lock in Pasta, which seems to be the big question here.
That's next. That's what you got to do next.
But if you're a Bruins fan, you got to be excited at the fact that they've learned from the past where they understand that, like McAvoy, they paid him. Like he didn't really have to take a hometown discount at what he'd done and accomplished. So I think that they're going to know. And once that, if this is in fact Bergeron and Krejci's last year, they will have that money to pay Pasta and kind of refuel. I'm just excited because the topic of bringing the band back together was really focused on Pittsburgh and what they were able to do. I look at these two teams as comparable, where we're going into, I would say, a little bit bigger window for Pittsburgh, probably 2 more years to try to lock in their 4th cup, which we'll get to Gino's birthday cake for his kid in probably another 5 minutes. But to bring back Krejci, you got your second line center, bumps Coyle back down to third line, very respectable third line center. Then of course you got that line, the big dogs who are going to be back together, who know each other. They're like the Sedins. They know where each other are going to be on the ice nonstop. You got Swayman the goaltending, and we already know what's going on with the decor. And I don't care who thinks they overpaid for Lindholm.
Yeah.
Lindholm. But they have a very competent top 4 with some great lunch bucket style players in the third and fourth line positions and their bottom pairing D. So everybody loves to bring up the age factor now, RA. Experience is a good thing. Great. Some teams have, better legs and they're fresher out there. Dude, if anything, those injuries where these guys won't be playing hockey in the first 2-3 months of the season is going to benefit them. They're going to be all horned up to get after it after Christmas time. And I think that this team could go on another run. I think they have
just remember their division is Tampa, Florida, Toronto, fucking Buffalo's better, Ottawa's better. You fucking guys sound like the biggest homers. This is the Jack Edwards podcast with Ryan Whitney on the back end. Like, what the fuck am I listening to right now?
Dude, I mean, they're a way better team than Ottawa.
The Czech League last year. It's like the fucking... He was like the Southern Professional League.
I went to the EIHL for a few months.
Yeah, and then you were doing a podcast a year later.
He was hardly a stiff, though, 2 years ago. He was still playing at a high level. I mean, they got a great 1-2 punch up the middle. It's, I don't know, what, top 5, top 7 in the league, maybe for centers. And, you don't have no disrespect to Hall, but, I don't think he was ideal for the 2C role in the Bruins.
I think Montgomery's a big deal, too, because I think he's a great coach that guys really like playing for. So exactly. I'd like to see my boy Wags get a chance. They sent him down to Providence all year. Maybe get a little muscle on the 4th line with him, RA.
Yeah, they need some, man, because you can't be getting bitched around like that. I mean, look, nobody messed with Gaudreau and Tkachuk in the playoffs. You got Lucic is a deterrent, man. Guys don't fuck with a guy like him on the bench, whatever line he's on.
I love the idea, RA. I love the idea.
Yeah. And Pavel Zak, another guy they got from Pasha's team, Jersey. He can go anywhere in the top 9.
Oh, great. Bring it over that losing culture. Get rid of him.
So anyways, we'll see what happens there. A couple more things to get to before we get to Mike Vernon. Defenseman John Klingberg signed with Anaheim, just a 1-year deal for $7 million. He was UFA, a bit of an eyebrow raiser, but prior to signing, he had fired his longtime agent, Peter Wallen. He's now rep by Newport Sports Management. But why do guys fire agents basically? Because they're just not getting the most money. Biz, what's the reason?
No, so I don't know how his situation played out. But in some cases, when you talk to agents, if you are a high caliber player, what they do is they look at the free agent pool that's available. I would say overall, the defenseman free agent pool this offseason was very soft. So based on points and prior play, I think that his agent probably said, listen, don't sign whatever Dallas is going to offer you. You're going to go to the open market and you're probably going to get 7 years around $7-8 million would be what you would probably see for a competent top 4 defenseman who can run a power play. Only issue here, we're getting into very interesting times with the cap crunch. I would say this is probably going to be the last year where it truly is affecting teams to where they're jammed up. Maybe you could give it 1 more year. And then with the TV deals kicking in, I think, and then of course them collecting all that money that they lost during COVID and getting back to square and less escrow for the players, I think you're going to see the cap start jumping up in the $3-4 million a year range rather than what you've been seeing it in like the $500,000, $1 million or $1.5 million range. So my assumption is and I don't know if this has came out, Dallas offered him a pretty decent contract, probably maybe in the 6-year, $6 million type range. And
I heard it was more.
There you go. And I don't know. I'm speaking as if though this is probably why he fired his agent. He holds out, waits for free agency, and then all of a sudden he's holding his dick in his hand. And he probably can't get more than a 3-4 year deal at $5 million. Maybe $6 million. So you look at how much money was left on the table based on maybe the agents being in his ear telling him, no, wait this out and you're going to get paid. That's my only theory on why he canned his agent before he ended up getting this deal. Obviously a very fun place to land in where you're living in good weather, but the team's not going to be very good. He's got to hope to go have a huge career year and maybe make back some of that money that he's lost. But if you had to ask me, let's say he was offered a 7 or 8 year deal at $6.5 million, he'll never be able to make up money that he turned down, regardless of how he plays for the rest of his career. And the reason I say that is because he's simply just not good enough defensively to be able to rely to pay a guy as much as he would have gotten in Dallas earlier on in the season.
And defensively, he's probably going to be, what's the term when you're kind of this year on a bad team, right? You're going to see him exposed maybe a little bit, right? Because Dallas wasn't a great team this past year, but Anaheim's probably going to struggle. And power.
Well, he got to play behind. Like, hey, I know Heiskanen was out with mono for a little bit, but he got to play with other competent defenders, so he wasn't really relied upon in those. With those matchups, and he could hide a little bit more in Dallas than he will be able to in Anaheim.
Definitely a victim, though, of the cap not going anywhere and COVID creating that flat cap system.
Yeah, but as an agent, you fucking gotta
know that. I know.
Say to him, say, buddy, like, sign this deal, and if it's not working out in a year or two, they'll buy you out. But look, I mean, here's another example of a guy who's in Anaheim. I believe that Shattenkirk signed a pretty good deal. He took the money, then he ended up getting bought out. But when you're a great offensive defenseman and you're a good guy in the locker room, you're going to get bought out at 2/3 your salary. And now he gets to play, for a couple $1 million in an awesome place and still remain in the league. If you're a good player, you're still going to remain in the league. You might get bought out because of the money that you're making, but just secure your fucking bag, man. That's it.
And I will say though, Biz, I guess like we should warn or say, it is hearsay what I heard he was offered. So I don't want to, say that that's a definite thing. I know for a fact that he was offered 7 times, like 6 or 7. But when you hear it rumbling around, it is shocking to see a guy end up with a 1-year deal. It's like, that's close to $35 million that you leave hanging.
Buddy, from halfway through the season, which I think that we can all agree, we heard rumblings that Dallas had offered something and that they were far apart. Then he became trade bait potentially at the deadline. I think Dallas was on the cusp of making playoffs, so they decided to keep him because it probably wasn't worth what the return was in a trade. And who knows, maybe they were going to be able to work something out in that period of time, but didn't. So I just think that he drastically overplayed his hand. And Halsey's our buddy. I think after he ended up winning the Hart, he was offered a significant contract by New Jersey. I don't know if it was enough to keep him there, or I don't know what the reason was as to why he didn't end up taking it. He took the gamble on himself and ended up going to Buffalo because when he did hit free agency, given all the circumstances, he wasn't offered, I don't think, anywhere close to what he had been offered in New Jersey. So he bet on himself, took the 1-year deal in Buffalo, I want to say at $9 or $10 million, and then look at how that went. And I'm not like the good news is he ended up in Boston and signed a 4-year deal at $6 million and ended up in a place where he's happy. But we all know that Taylor Hall's not ever going to make the money that he left on the table in which he turned down. And you see many examples of guys sometimes overplaying their hand. And hey, man, it ain't my life. And if you have the balls to roll the dice, roll the dice. But I tend to take a little bit more of the conservative approach.
I think he just got married too, right, Halsey?
Yeah, he's on his honeymoon right now.
His wife is an absolute missile.
I would hope so. With his friggin' lips, he looks. I saw he's traveling the world on the honeymoon right now. Good for him.
Yeah, congrats on you.
I tell you how he can make up some of that money. Our lip gloss line. No, not OnlyFans. Our lip gloss line. Hit me up.
Yeah.
All right, boys. A few more notes here before we get to Mr. Vernon. Vegas goalie Robin Leonard is going to miss next season due to hip surgery. And Vegas is also going to be without Nolan Patrick to start the year. He's going to be on LTIR. Obviously, he had the concussion issues. So wish those guys the best. Hate to see those guys out. Montreal goalie Carey Price is, quote, unlikely to play this season. He had that knee surgery back in 2021, and he hasn't responded to treatment. So he's going to go on long-term injured reserve as well. He's got a $10.5 million cap hit, and he's still got 4 more years left on that deal.
It's crazy to think you'll probably never see Carey Price play in the NHL again. And, you know, not to jump ahead, but holy fuck, was that guy an amazing hockey player. Yeah. And I'm guessing the guy's got no cartilage in his knee. Who knows at this point? But to know he's not going to play this year, you can't imagine another year he's playing. And it's just wild to think that it can kind of end all that quickly when you were that amazing of a player and you're that good of a run on such a storied franchise.
I was really happy he was able to get that bubble run.
I know.
It was a great send off if this is the end of Carey Price's career, and just like to hear his teammates and the way they talking about him. Brandon Gallagher does a great job with the media, and just the praise that they give him about, you know, everything that he's been through and the mental strength and how awesome of a teammate he is, and a perfect example. And like, even when you know, he has to Carey Price has to talk about political issues, talk about the indigenous community. He is just a 10 out of 10 guys, in my opinion, a Hall of Famer. And it would be very, very sad to not see him play hockey again. Although if that is the case, I'm really looking forward to the send off that Canadian fans will give him when he does retire. I think that his jersey number goes to the rafters for the Canadians. It's so hard
because guys who didn't win a cup.
Yeah, it's that franchise. I think the standard might be a little different, but at the same time, he was top tier goalie for a long time. That's an interesting question, Biz.
Keep in mind, I'd have Shane in the Hall of Fame, though. Hall of Fame, like,
yeah. If you're in the Hall of Fame, if you're in the Hockey Hall of Fame, you've been on one team the whole time. They kind of have to retire your jersey.
Yeah.
No statue though. No statue.
Yeah, statues, you got to save them for, you know, like a Mario Lemieux type stuff. Carolina forward Max Pacioretty, who they acquired recently in a trade. He's going to miss 6 months after Achilles tendon surgery. I guess he had tore it working out. So get well soon, Max. Want to get him back out there for Carolina. New York Rangers defenseman Jacob Trouba gets the C for captaincy. No surprise here. He's the 28th captain in team history, the 12th defenseman to wear it, and the first since Ryan McDonough was traded back in 2018. There are now 3 captains that are defensemen in the NHL. Do you know who the other 2 are?
Okay. Hold on.
It wasn't the sheet. It was easy.
Oh shit, dude. This is not jumping to me quick right now.
Yeah, me neither. Fuck.
All right.
We can come back to it if you want.
Come on, Whit. Drew Doughty, is he captain? No.
Why don't say Kopitar, you donkey?
I know. Jesus Christ, Whit. What the hell?
Do they still consider Shea Weber? Like, is that one of them?
No.
Okay.
Two active guys. We both had him on the show in the past. One's an absolute man rocket. The other guy, he's good looking too, but he's not as good looking.
Oh, Yossi
got it first.
The other guy, one of our recent interviews, wasn't the last what season. It wasn't a full blown like
Rick from Red Deer's kicking his fuking steering wheel right now because we can't.
Oh my god, this. Captain as a defenseman. We interviewed.
Yeah, on one of our road trips, right around the turn of the calendar. Come on.
All right, just tell us.
Jared Spurgeon.
God, we could have been here for 6 more hours.
I mean, I'm telling you right now.
Sorry, Spurge.
The worst part about that is I said, the Wild? No, Ryan Suter isn't there anymore.
I didn't hear that.
Ouch.
Okay, no, in my head. That was my head. That was a head conversation.
Hey, we've been off. We've been off work, man. Come on.
A little rusty. Rusty. Biz, I know you want to mention the Islanders. A lot of people are all over them. They didn't sign any UFAs, although they did re-up Noah Dobson, 3 years, $12 million. They did sign Alexander Romanov, who they got in a trade with Montreal. But Lou said there's no disappointment with where we're at because we feel very good about who we are. But we could have made drastic changes. I say that with culpability. I say that with confidence, and we're looking forward to getting back at it and maybe proving everybody wrong.
I don't know. Sounds like
the Islanders are going to be very good.
Was he there in the Amalfi Coast with you, Grinelli? Sounds like Lou's losing a step. Seems like he's maybe not taking it as seriously as he once was. Not one single free agent. And then to give it I like who we are as a roster when they were as bad as they were last year.
They're going to be a fucking good team, man. Their whole season was the biggest collaboration of bad luck that I've ever seen a team have. They had to start the whole season on the road. They all got COVID, no canceled games. And then all of a sudden they started canceling every team's games when guys got COVID. There was no chance they could come back. The roster the year before had gone to the Eastern Conference Finals, actually both years before. The Islanders are very good and will be very good this year. And I'm telling you right now, you can talk all you want about the goaltender for the New York Rangers, but fucking Sorokin is sick in Long Island. And I'm telling you, the Islanders are going to be a team to be reckoned with this season.
Oh, my God.
When
did you turn into an Islanders simp?
When I realized how much of scumbags the Rangers fans were.
Oh, hey, okay, so we glanced over the Trouba thing. That's why I despise that fan base. Half of them are bitching online that it wasn't this guy or wasn't that guy. Shut the fuck up. With the elbows that Trouba was throwing in playoffs last year, he deserved to see. And I don't know how many of you watched the press conference he had. It was more of a questionnaire period. And just hearing the way that he talked about his wife and all the sacrifices she made, and he started crying. Everything that came out of his mouth solidified exactly why he should be captain of the New York Rangers. And you want those other guys, those stars, to more worry about their play, not having to lead the locker room. Trouba was the perfect pick. When Fox came in, it took the pressure off him offensively, and I think he settled into exactly the player that everybody expected him to be, and probably even surpassed people's expectations on how physical that he can play given his size. Because sometimes, players get a little point obsessive, and he got his fucking contract. He settled in perfectly, and he's a fucking force to be reckoned with. And now he's the leader of the New York Rangers, and I couldn't be happier for the guy. We got to get him on the podcast. Although I don't know if
they're not allowed.
Yeah, with me and Dolan going at it because I called them the Fugazis.
Hey, does the Barstool Sportsbook app have NHL teams over under for points this season up yet?
I don't believe they have it up yet, but they usually do.
I can't wait to see the Islanders.
Biz, real quick, to stick with the Islanders, about a little over a month ago, you made a prediction, and you said that the New York Islanders will make the Eastern Conference Finals easily. Has that changed now that they didn't make any free agent offseason?
No, but buddy, 100% it did. 100% it did. I thought
they were that before free agency.
I said it right before free agency. Yep. I said they got some money to work with here. Lou's pretty cheap. They still got 1 year of Barzell at $7 million, which is a deal. They don't have to sign him till the next offseason, which given Lou, they'll probably drag it out to last minute and then not announce it till 3 months later, right at training camp, that they fucking signed the guy. But to not bring in anybody, I think that's preposterous. To not make up for your massive mistake of trading Devon Taves, one of the best defensemen in the league now. I know he's playing with the car and blah, 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 for 2 second rounders. To not make up for that mistake and then go to the Amalfi Coast to hang out with Granelli in the offseason instead of getting anybody signed in free agency. Yeah, I'm coming off my stance. I don't even know if they're going to make playoffs now.
Oh, hot take central here. As far as Trouba, they basically said
we're in mid-season form, RA.
More or less the de facto captain. They said he's basically been the captain the last couple of years unofficially. So the team, they were all supported. Like, to go to your point about the fans, Trouba being captain, they said he's basically been the captain as far as his role in the locker room and leadership and all that stuff. So no real surprise there. Patrick Kane rumors. I'm not a huge rumor guy. Apparently, his camp is, quote unquote, undecided about requesting a trade. They keep hearing the Oilers name mentioned. I don't know if there's validity to it. There's $6 million cap right now. I don't know how they're going to add $10 million more. Not many teams can. If he's going to get traded, I think it's going to happen much closer to the deadline. I can't see a team grabbing this guy before Thanksgiving or even Christmas.
If you don't think Kyle Dubas is going to work his magic and get Patrick Kane over to the Toronto Maple Leafs, you're out of your fucking mind. The rumblings have started, and people are talking about the cap space there as well. You're gonna see one of the greatest, if not right now as it stands, the greatest U.S. hockey player to ever play the game pass the torch over to Austin Matthews in his final couple seasons. I think it's going to happen. I think he's going to probably re-sign after the $10 million he's making and take a hometown discount, just like Giordano did, just like everybody else is doing.
Hometown discount. He's American.
How's that BC Bud biz?
It's great. As in hometown, as in playing in Toronto and loving it so much and playing with his buddy. Austin.
Yeah. I got you. Did I catch a niner?
Because they need another $10 million contract. Yeah. You mentioned Geno Malkin's kid's birthday cake, the Lion King thing. That was, how much did that cost? $1,000 to.
Well, we didn't get Witt's opinion on where he thinks Patrick Kane's going.
I already said he's going to Buffalo. He's going back home.
That's the hometown
Buffalo Sabres are going to celebrate a Stanley Cup championship with Patrick Kane after the Buffalo Bills celebrate a Super Bowl championship with Josh Allen.
Wait,
the city of Buffalo is buzzing, and it's on a trajectory straight to the moon. I'm telling you, both of those teams, everyone knows the Bills are already amazing. The Sabres are going to be sick. Did you hear Okposo telling us about him? I felt bad. I didn't even want to say to Okposo, how are you going to get in the lineup? This fucking team's loaded.
Whit, who wins a cup first, the Sabres or the Maple Leafs?
The Sabres? Are you kidding me? The Leafs will never win a cup.
You sound like Pasha right now.
No, I don't. Everything I say about the Leafs happens. Every single thing I've said about the Leafs since this podcast began and RA and I were sitting on his couch has come true about the Leafs. I'm not even exaggerating. I've never been wrong about one thing about the Leafs. You've been wrong about everything. Everything.
So Biz, about that birthday cake. What I was curious about.
I didn't see this. Can I see this somewhere? Sorry, guys.
Gee, can you get the link over to him? Yeah,
I went to Malkin's Instagram and it's not on there.
Before we left for break, I think we mentioned how preposterous Evgeny Malkin throws birthday parties. A few years ago, he had all these like random dudes he probably got on the Russian Craigslist to dress up in full gear, other than skates, at his kid's birthday party in full Penguins gear. One of them had a Malkin jersey on. One of them had a Crosby jersey on. One of them had a Kunitz jersey on. I don't know what other players were there. And I think they were just like standing around the yard as this party went on, playing their positions up and down the wing. Now, Malkin posts an Instagram photo of his son's birthday cake. And I think we're all aware during his tenure with that core group of players, they've won 3 Stanley Cups. They won the one, I want to say, in Malkin's 3rd or 4th year. Then they got the back of the back. They have a Lion King themed cake, and that monkey that holds up the what's the lion? Simba?
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. Simba.
Instead of Simba,
this cake is amazing.
It's a 4th Stanley Cup. It's a 4th. Buddy, I was talking about the bringing it back Boston. This has me so hyped up for the Pittsburgh Penguins season. I think
Malkin's smoke show wife's looking at him. He's just looking away.
Hey, here's a bet for you. I bet you Malkin gets 100 points this season. You don't get a cake like that for your kid with a 4th Stanley Cup, predicting it without showing up. He had knee surgery last offseason. He didn't come back till like halfway through the year last year. He wasn't himself. Made a lot of like costly turnovers, just didn't look. He didn't have his mojo. I think Malkin's mojo is coming back, and it starts with the birthday cake.
Biz, you mentioned Pittsburgh there. You seem very hyped about them to start the season. Maybe we should do a little bit of a live show there to start the year. What do you think of that?
We're talking about this right now.
Get me to Pittsburgh. I want to.
No. I thought we were holding this information.
Yeah. No, it can come out, baby.
All right, going to Pittsburgh.
All right, I'll hand it over to you, buddy, because you're good with the announcements.
We're going to Pittsburgh. This is news to me, dude. I thought we were going somewhere else. I didn't know we were going. This is all news to me, Shaka.
So, guys,
oh my God, my heart's fucking racing. I'm going back. I haven't been back.
We usually wait till we finalize all the details, but we're about birth control. 99.9% going to be kicking off the season in Pittsburgh to do a live show, to hit up some bars, to do appearances, to do some. We're going to watch. We're going to do a sandbagger.
Oh my God!
On top of it, I'm not going to say anything other than this: the biggest announcement in Chiclets history will happen live in Pittsburgh for our first live show in the last 3 years. Some of you are thinking, "Oh my God, are you guys going to get a mic and sound system to work?" We are going to go to a professional venue, and there will be no mic issues. We're not going to have any mic issues like Chicago. Dallas wasn't that bad. Maybe some people at the back of the room were struggling to hear it, but we have a professional place that will have adequate sound for everybody. We're going to throw a fucking banger and talk about the biggest surprise in Spittin Chiclets history to open up the season in Pittsburgh. They got a game. How about this kicker too? On Thursday, October, is it 12th?
11th or something, I think.
11th. They open up the season against the Arizona Coyotes.
Oh, that's a 6-0 win.
Give me 2 dimes on Pittsburgh.
And then on the Saturday, they have a second home game to kick off the season against the Tampa Bay Lightning. So we will be there the entire weekend. And on Sunday, we'll probably be going to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who will be visiting the Steelers. So it is going to be a jam-packed weekend to kick off the season.
We got to get Jersey Jerry to come, maybe.
Let's do it.
Listen, I've been back to Pittsburgh one time since I was traded. Everyone knows I went back as a member of the Anaheim Duck. I was -4. We got stroked off in Mellon Arena. I've never even been to their new building. Never seen it. Never stepped foot in it. So the fact we're actually going back to Pittsburgh, oh my God. East Carson Street biz.
You know how many special guests we're going to have show up for that one?
Oh my God.
It's going to be the best way to kick off the season for the Spittin.
I'm in the best mood right now.
I can't even talk right now. I got goosebumps. I'm so excited for this. My heart rate's about 180, like Whit back there.
I love being surprised, just like the listeners are. I'm so happy right now. It's not a long flight for me.
Yeah, I'm shocked. I thought we were going to another city, but I'm fine. I haven't been to Pittsburgh since I drank out of the Stanley Cup back in 2009, so I'll be looking forward to it.
This whole podcast is coming back full circle.
It really is. Yep. It's kind of crazy. But boys, you think we should send it to Mike Vernon right about now?
We should.
Garbage on for a little bit. I think we should send it over to a guy who probably should be in the Hall of Fame, 2 Stanley Cups, Conn Smythe winner. Enjoy, Mike Vernon. Well, before we send it to Mike Vernon, we want to let you know that his interview is brought to you by Sling TV. Sling TV has something for everyone. All your favorite shows on your favorite channels, all right at your fingertips. What you watch is up to you. It really just depends on what kind of mood you're in. So if you're looking for sports, Sling's got you covered with pro and college basketball and football, baseball, hockey, soccer, golf, racing, and so much more. Sling also has reality TV, so you can keep up with the latest gossip with today's hottest shows on channels like TLC, Bravo, MTV, and more. You're feeling adventurous? Explore thousands of movies and shows on demand. So what kind of mood are you in? No matter what your answer, Sling has what you need. And getting Sling is so easy. You sign up and you start watching in just 5 minutes. You can stream on any device and record up to 50 hours with included DVR space. And the best part is you can pause or customize your subscription at any time. So check out sling.com for more special offers. Sling, the TV you love for a price you love. Try us today. And now enjoy Mike Vernon. Well, it's a real pleasure to welcome our next guest to the show. A third-round draft pick by the Calgary Flames at the 1981 draft. This goalie was one of the best in the NHL during the duration of his 19-season career spent with the Flames, Red Wings, Sharks, and Panthers. He won Stanley Cups with Calgary in 1989 and Detroit in 1997, where he also won the Conn Smythe Trophy for playoff MVP. In 2007, the Flames retired as number 30, and hopefully the Hockey Hall of Fame comes a call in one of these years for this very worthy candidate. Thanks a ton for joining us on the Spittin Chiclets podcast. Mike Vernon. How you doing, Mike?
Good. Thank you for that very nice introduction.
Nice tire pump, eh?
Does that bring back some memories or what? Just hearing RA, just to, describe your career to everyone.
Yeah, it's kind of gives you a little chills down your spine. And it was interesting. The other day I did a piece for ESPN, and all they were talking about was the battle in Detroit, the fight at the Joe, I guess it was. So, they bring back good memories, all that stuff.
Are you still in Calgary these days?
Yes.
Are you retired from the real estate game, or are you still working?
I still involved in the real estate game a bit. I work for a company in town, a sign company, and have a couple other little ventures on the go.
I always get curious because guys, when they retire, a good amount still like to do shinny hockey or skate with their buddies. Goalies, it seems though, they're done. They're done putting the pads on. Have you ever played like hockey after your career as a goalie or even out skating as a forward or defenseman?
Yeah, I participated in the outdoor game with the Montreal Canadiens and Calgary Flames. I don't know what year that was. It was a long time ago. Anyway, I started getting in net and playing and things like that. And I just to get ready for that game. And I played the game, and after I said, I'll never do this again. I said, the guys might be a lot slower, but with the new sticks, they could still shoot the puck, and my reflexes aren't that good. So I was basically swearing and cussing at the boys during warm up. They were firing at my ears and things like that. So it's it's a bad feeling. And I know a lot of ex goaltenders, they go play out and things like that and try to live that dream. But I did that for a couple of years with Shinny, and then I just packed it all in.
You were a goalie at an interesting time, Mike. I mean, the position essentially got revolutionized while you played it. You come in as a stand-up guy, then the butterfly kind of came into, I guess, the what everybody does, the standard, I guess. Was there a teacher or a particular player who brought that style to you where you kind of incorporated a sort of a hybrid style?
Well, I think over the course of my career, I think everything evolved. Stand-up goaltender, and then, Patrick Waugh comes in and with the butterfly goaltending style that was very popular and still is to this day. I had the pleasure of playing against great guys like Patrick Waugh, Grant Fuhr, and there's no doubt when I watched other goaltenders, I tried to incorporate some of the things they were doing into my game, and there's no doubt you have to change. You have to change all the time, and if you're not willing to learn and change, your career, I think, would be shortened dramatically. I just couldn't grow. That was my problem.
That's why you had to play the stand-up. I was going to bring up the height a little bit later, but like going back to the early days, RA usually asks this one, like, what made you become a goaltender? Was it your brothers throwing you a net? Was you went to a game one time and you just fell in love with the position?
A little of everything. I had 3 older brothers, so I got stuck in that. My father was a coach. He was coaching one of my older brothers, and they had a goalie on the team, and his name's Bob Sinclair. And I stay in touch with him to this day. And I idolized him. I remember as a little kid, I used to knock on his mother's door and, can I go try on Bobby's stuff? His gear was in the basement and things like that. And he'd always give me his hand-me-down gear. And I remember one time he had an orange mask. It was like a Jacques Plante mask. And the team I played for was South Calgary Community, and we were green. And my dad had a painting company, and I went down to the garage and I got green spray paint, and I sprayed this thing, and I'm like, I got to wear this tomorrow at the game. And I put it on and I played. It was still a little tacky. I took it off after the game. My whole face was green. It just bled all over my face, and I had a green face. So, it's just great memories, hockey.
So not many guys, I feel like, play goalie right from the jump, right? Kids play out and they kind of figure out that's what they want to do. But the entire time you were goalie, were you always a high level guy, like growing up, top goalie in the local area? You don't have to be too modest. You could be honest.
Well, my first coach was my mother, and I think it was called Diaper League. And I was a goalie then. I was always a goaltender, and we had some pretty good teams in Tiny Mite, Pee Wee, Bantam, Midget, and we'd always seem to either get to the city champions or the provincials. I'd always used to play against the Sutters. I even played against Kelly Rudy in Tiny Mite. I think it was Tiny Mite or Pee Wee. He played for the Knights of Columbus in Edmonton, and I was with South Calgary, and we played each other.
Now, we were looking at your junior career. You played for the Calgary Wranglers, but there was a rule back then. The league champion was allowed to add another goalie to the roster. What was the reasoning behind that? What was the logic with all that?
Well, I think it was if goaltenders got injured and things like that, and you're traveling, you need a third goaltender or something like that. But teams used to abuse it, and that's what happened with me. I got called up to Portland one of my first years. I played, I don't even know if I played too many games the first time around. The second time around, it was the Lethbridge Broncos in the Western Finals with Portland, and Portland's goaltending wasn't that great. Obviously, Lethbridge won the series, but the host team was Portland. Both teams called me during the series, and they asked the league for me to make a decision. And I made the decision before the series was over. And I picked Portland because Portland's goaltender wasn't that great. And Lethbridge had Kenny Riggett, who was a great goaltender. Lo and behold, Kenny Riggett, I guess, hurt himself. in the last game of the year, he hurt his ankle or something, twisted it, and he couldn't play. And so Lethbridge, John Chappie Chapman, he raised hell, and that was the story. And now we're no longer to do that, call up a third goaltender.
What was the summer training like back then for a goaltender? You talked about all these like revolutionary new styles, and guys went from the stand up to playing the butterfly. Like, were you going off to goalie schools? Like, what were you doing in order to keep shape in the summer, or was that still the era where you guys were just hitting the bottle hard?
Well, Gary Bowman was a guy that I started. He played in Minnesota, and I think he played a few years pro. He had a clinic here in Tiny Mite and Pee Wee I used to go to. And then when I got on years, I really didn't have anyone. Basically, up until the year I got drafted. The year I got drafted, I was 18 years old. They sent me a little book to work out, and I just followed that. That's all I did. I remember even my first year training camp, I'm at Max Bell Arena, and I'm ready to go for the 5-mile jog. Brad Marsh comes up beside me. Hey, Mike, how you doing? Good, Brad. I look down. I go, you don't own a pair of runners? He said, no, never owned a pair of runners in my life. He had a pair of Kodiak work boots on. And he ran 5 miles in those.
Get the fuck out of here. We had him on.
I'm dead serious. You ask him. It was unbelievable. So then fitness started to come into the league, but really, I never had a goalie coach. And then Glenn Hall became my goalie coach in Calgary, but Glenn Hall never came on the ice once with me. It was always one-on-one. We'd talk. He'd take notes. We'd sit down after the game in the bus, and I'd have a couple beers. I'd go, Glenny, would you like a beer? He'd go, oh, would I ever love a beer? And him and I would have a beer, and we'd bring out his notes and go over the whole game. It was unbelievable. That just shows you the game's mental.
Oh, you think? Yeah, that's why me and Biz lasted as short as we did. We're both mental midgets. So I talk about the game now with people, and at one point they wanted the giant defenseman and the big kind of like slow, even power forward, and the goalies were smaller. And it's totally flipped now to where you got Vasilevsky and Markstrom and these 6'5", 6'6" goalies, and the players are getting smaller with speed being such a big, factor. What do you think took so long for the league to kind of figure out the bigger the guy, we probably want him in net? You know what I mean?
Well, some guys tried to do that with their weight in the old days, like Pat Reagan and things like that. But I think back in the day, they wanted someone with a little more flexibility and speed. And now you have these gigantic goaltenders, and they have speed and flexibility. And that was the toughest thing, to find a goalie that was bigger, that had the flexibility. Pete Peters was a big goalie, but he couldn't touch his toes, right? It was unbelievable. And he played that stand-up style, Mike Liu and these guys. So I think that guys like Patrick Waugh revolutionized the goaltending position, more the butterfly style. And then guys just took that ball and ran with it. And I'm amazed at the coordination, the flexibility, some of these big guys. It is unbelievable. Look at Mike Smith playing at 40 years old, plays basically in his crease. And he's down doing the splits and doing everything to keep the puck out of the net. And he's playing at the age of 40 years old. It's unbelievable.
Mike, after the 83 season in juniors, you actually got called up to Calgary for a couple games. They had some injuries. They pretty much threw you to the Wolves. Did that experience have a negative effect on you, maybe second guessing yourself about whether you can play in the NHL or not?
Did it ever? So
how'd those games go? Fill us in.
Hey, my father had a picture blown up of that game, and he put it in my room, and he said, "You'll never forget that day." The son of a bitch, he was right. So after that game, I went down to the minors again or wherever I was, and I'm like going, how am I going to play in the National Hockey League? This is this is ridiculous. I'll never be able to stop that. How am I going to do that? And it just, I don't know what it was. If it was persistence, trying to figure it out. Back in those days, you didn't have the sports psychologist, the fitness trainer, all these people. You basically had to do it yourself and figure it out. So that's all I tried to do, is figure out how to stop the puck and move on as a player, as a goaltender. And I was fortunate because timing was very important. I just had a couple injuries up in Calgary, and I got called up, and I actually played well, and then I eventually stuck with the team. But that was my break. And I mean, if I didn't get that break, I don't know if I would have had a career in the National Hockey League.
Yeah, because they called you up, I think it was 86, you for an exhibition, was it Dynamo Moscow? You played 18 games. Then you basically took Reggie Lemlin's job. You ended up playing 21 games in the playoffs. That must have been a whirlwind for you. You were still a young kid a couple of years before you got lit up. I mean, what was going through your mind at that time?
That was basically my, I think it was my third year pro. I started the year in Salt Lake, went to Moncton. I got called up 3 or 4 times before I stuck. My Aeroplan, I still have Aero miles from that year. I collected so many, but you know what? It was probably one of my most memorable seasons, even though we didn't win the Stanley Cup, but we lost Montreal in the finals. But just to go from Salt Lake, Moncton, and up to Calgary all in 1 year, and it was quite a run for myself and even the organization, the Calgary Flames. And I mean, it was a lot of fun.
Had you gotten the chance to ever play against Roy before that? And from a goaltender's perspective, do you look at it like you against the other guy across from you, or are you just worried about your own net and what you had to do?
Well, I was well aware of Patrick. He had played the whole year in Montreal. I never played against him before. I knew he was a rookie goaltender also. That was our first meeting. And then we met again in 89. We met in 97 in Colorado with Detroit and things like that. So Calgary Flames and the Montreal Canadiens had a very good rivalry. We play New Year's Eve all the time in Calgary, and then that playoff run. And so there was a very good rivalry with the Montreal Canadiens. Cliff Fletcher came from Montreal in his earlier days. He was our general manager in Calgary. So that was the start of the head-to-head with Patrick Roy.
Those Flames teams of the mid to late 80s, I mean, there's so many characters and guys who have had such amazing careers. Like Neuendijk was young. You get to witness Joe Mullen. You get to see Lanny McDonald. Obviously it was a close team. You win a Stanley Cup, but was there a guy that was the prankster? Was there a guy that you look back as he was just the clown in the room? What do you remember about certain characters that were a part of that team?
Oh my God. There was so many characters. Jim Poplinski, he used to get, Mark Hunter was so excited about his new Lincoln Continental, and he'd get the grinder at the skate shop and just touch this key a bit. And Mark, for a week, it was starting to have trouble starting his car. And then one day it didn't start, and he had to call the dealership, and we're all out there, and the tow truck's coming and stuff like that. Doug Gilmour's another guy. He's unbelievable. I had a dress shirt on like this, and always running a little late to catch the bus. And Dougie Gilmour got the scalpel out and cut the threads in behind the button, just left one thread there, and do the top button out, it would ping out, the next one ping, next one ping. It's stuff like that. There was always guys playing the practical jokes, but those two were masters at it.
Mike, oh my God. Ruining the car keys, unbelievable. Just slowly over
That's
time.
A little ruthless.
Nowadays, it's $800 for a new car key.
Well, they don't have a key. It's a fob or some stupid thing.
No
so
shit.
There you go.
Mike, what was your relationship with Reggie Lemon like? I mean, you were essentially kind of taking his job, which would sort of be a theme with you kind of a couple times later during your career. What was it like with Reggie that first year?
Well, Reggie, when I got drafted, they paired me with Reggie Lemon in training camp a lot. Reggie Lemon was an outstanding person, a great mentor. He was unbelievable during that time when I came in, and he says, Mike, I do not blame you. You work hard, you earn this, and that's all on you. Congratulations type thing. But he said, don't worry about me. I'll be fine. And Reggie was a class act. I love the guy. He was a well-liked guy in the dressing room. He was a great golfer. And just a great guy to have a beer with, too. He was very instrumental in my younger days of coming up and playing. Reggie Lemon probably, he sat back and his legs were unbelievable. I used to just sit and watch him. He was a great goaltender. And then he went on to Boston and played very well and still continued. Just a class act.
Sort of give you lessons like that you kind of needed later in your career when, younger guys were coming up and maybe taking your job from you. Did you sort of lean on Reggie's lessons back then?
Well, the organization knew who the good guys were. So they put me in with a good guy because I was a third round draft choice and things like that. But, there was other guys there like Dan Bouchard. It wasn't necessarily the words that they were saying to me, a lot of it. It was just their actions on the ice and how they played the position. And Dan Bouchard, he was another great goaltender. And Pat Reagan had a total different style. And but they were all gentlemen in the dressing room, off the ice. They had their own kind of style that they went with, and I just kind of watched and tried to learn from it, and that's it.
Different guys have different experiences when they not only get drafted to their hometown, but also have to play there in the NHL. Like, what was yours off the hop? And maybe at a certain point, did it get to be a little bit too much? Maybe like requests for tickets, maybe having family members constantly reach out, and any extra added pressure at the fact that you were in your hometown?
Well, I was playing for the Calgary Wranglers too in junior when I got drafted, and I was driving home from school. And Peter Marr comes on the radio and said, the Calgary Flames have just drafted third round Mike Vernon, the local boy. And I go, oh, shit. And I was talking to Minnesota, Boston. I was talking to 6 other teams. And I'm like, I want to go somewhere else, right, to play. And, I look back at it now, it probably forced me to become a better goaltender. There's some good and bad, no different than anything else. You win a cup in Calgary, you're a hero. And my jersey's in the stadium. It's great. I'm retired now. I'm in the city. People are very generous with their comments. But when I was playing, if we were losing or we lost a series or something like that, I'd go hit golf balls during playoffs in an off day. People are going, what are you doing here? How come you're not practicing? This is wrong. And you sit there and you feel the pressure. And it was tough to do. And, it's no different than Patty Waugh in Montreal. And, he wanted to get out of there too because of all the pressure from the local standpoint.
Wasn't there a conversation that you ended up bumping into him and that was part of the reason as to why you ended up leaving Calgary, excuse me. And even after you'd won the Stanley Cup, wasn't there a point where your parents removed their season tickets because they got so fed up?
Oh yeah. I'll quickly get to it. My parents got rid of the tickets because you could sell them for a good price, but they were getting harassed. And I said, I get you tickets. Don't worry about it. And anyway, I got traded to Detroit. We're in Montreal, and Patrick was playing for the Canadiens, and I go to that little cafe by the rink before in the morning skate. I go a little early because I want to fiddle with the sticks and the equipment. So I go in there to have breakfast. Patty was there at the counter, and he sees me and he waves me over. And Mike, come here. There's an open seat here. And I sat down, and he just went off. He just said, I think I'm going to quit the game. The fans, the media, everybody's on me. I'm done. And I looked at him and I said, Patty, you're one of the best goalies in the National Hockey League. The NHL can't afford to lose you. Do what I did. Get traded. And then we went out that night. We played him. Patrick Roy, I think he was in for all 9 goals. We beat him 9-1 or 9-3 or something like that. And that's when he walked by.
Get out of here.
Ariel Tremblay on the bench, went over to Corey where there was no glass and probably said to him, I'm not going to play another game. Trade me. And I guess a week later, he was traded to Colorado.
And did you ever talk to him afterward and did he mention it to you that your conversation probably impacted his decision into allowing the wires to cross to go up to management on the bench?
We have never discussed that. And I think the first time that I told this story was with Elliot Friedman and with Kelly Rudy and some talk. And this was back in 2004 or something like that. And Friedman, he couldn't believe it. He was like, this is unreal. And I said, well, it's true. And he went and verified it. And oh yeah, it was true. But Patty doesn't really like to talk about it, I don't think. And I don't talk to Patrick, but I don't think he brings it up too often.
Jeez, that's a long way to go to set up the fight between you two, huh?
Yeah.
How did you guys celebrate the '89 Cup? I know things were a lot different back then. What did you guys do to tear it up?
Oh my! Well, we won in Montreal, so that was kind of cool.
Oh, nice.
I think we were the only team to ever win a cup hoist the cup in Montreal. They either lost it on the road, but they never lost it at home.
Huh.
So
cool.
I remember jumping on the plane, and we were backing out, and Jack Maloney, who was with the Air Canada at the time, he goes up to the front and tells the pilot, move up, go back in. We don't have enough beer on this flight. So he got some more beer brought on the plane. We got back to Calgary, I don't know, at 3-4 in the morning, it was probably later than that, 4 or 5 in the morning. And we poured down to a little pub, Honey's Pizza. And we went there and had a few beers and drank some more. And we had a bunch of events. We had a great party at Lanny McDonald's house. We had the Sail Cats there. And we celebrated big.
I see the second round. Excuse me. You swept LA, and then you made easy work of Chicago in the conference finals. But in the first round, you went to Game 7 with Vancouver. Was Game 7 a tight game? Was it a close one? Like, what were your nerves like pre-game nap before Game 7 that year?
None of the series are easy, and that first one I think really set us up for the playoffs for the rest of the playoff run. You're going into a Game 7. Anything can happen, and it's do or die situations and close calls on both accounts. And it just worked out in our favor. We got one thrown at the net and went off a Joel Otto skate into the net to seal the deal. And I remember coming in the dressing room, and Cliff Fletcher was there, and he just gave me a big bear hug, and he said, "You little bastard, great job." So there's great moments. You pick out saves and things like that, but the adrenaline's going. You're so focused on the game, you don't really stop to think about the other things. You're so ingrained in what's going on in front of you that you don't even the fans or what they're doing. It's loud in the building, but you're still focused at the job at hand, I guess.
Well, we mentioned the trade to Detroit already. It sounds like it was pretty welcome for you, but then you get there. Chris Osgood's there. He's pretty much an established number one. Was there any friction between you guys, or was it a healthy competition? What was that like going from Calgary to this whole new competition?
That's a great story. The trade. I don't think a lot of people know this. When I got traded, I And Scotty Bowman phoned me. And he said, Mike, I just inquired your rights and things like that. And he goes, this is the weirdest trade I've ever done in my life. I go, what do you mean by that? He said, I traded for you 2 weeks ago. Doug Riseborough didn't want me to announce it until now. And I'm going, wow, that's weird. So I have no idea why that happened that way. So anyway, I get to Detroit and they look at me and they say, what number do you want? And I says, well, what number is available? And he goes, well, I know you wear 30 and Ozzy wears 30. I said, I don't want 30. That's his number. He was here first. And I said, is 29 available? He said, yeah. I said, okay, I'll take that one. And it has there's no reference to anything. I just said 29, I'll take it. I don't care. Ozzy and I got along great. Still talk to this day. It was fun playing with Osgood. We pushed I was hoping, that I pushed him enough to make him a better goaltender, and he pushed me to be a better goaltender too. And that's what it's about. It's good pressure in the dressing room, and that's what it should be.
When you got picked up from them and he called you, did he kind of mention what was going to be happening? Was it more of a mentor role? Was it described that it was going to be sharing the net? What was it like going in?
He just said, look, you're here, and I got Osgood and you. I got a great tandem, and you guys will determine how everything goes. I played, I think, most of the games the first year in playoffs. The second year, Ozzy played those, and the third year I was there, I played those. And pretty much throughout the year, we pretty much split games. Maybe Ozzy played a little more some of the time, but yeah, it was a pretty good tandem. I remember we're in LA. Scotty Bowman calls Ozzy and I over, and he goes, who the hell am I going to play tonight? Do I have to call up Kevin Hodgson from the minors? He goes, you two are the shits in this building. And he said, Vernon, you're playing San Jose tomorrow night. Ozzy, you got LA tonight. And he'd turn around and skate away. And Ozzy and I would look at each other. Oh, thanks a lot. And we just laughed.
Bowman must have been just tough with everyone. You've heard these legendary stories from all the spots he was at. I mean, you witnessing it as a goalie, it must have been even crazier to see what he'd do and say to some of these guys playing out, right?
Well, I liked Scotty. He made me laugh. He was serious. There was just a lot of funny moments, and he was a demanding coach. Don't get me wrong. I mean, he would say to Shanahan, "If you're not going to move your legs, I'm not going to play you." Bottom line. And that's and he kind of left it up to the player to decide what he wanted to do. And I'm standing beside him one day on the bench, and I hear this buzz sound go off. And he reaches in his pocket and he looks at this thing and he goes, "Hey, Mike, look at this. This is my worldwide pager and stuff like that. The game's going on." And he's talking like this to me. I'm like, "Oh, great. Super."
Got a beeper?
Yeah, there was, I don't know, whatever it was. So I was just, he made me laugh. The guy was, 3 steps ahead of everybody else, especially the other coach on the other side a lot of times in his line matchups and who he wanted on the ice. He had the luxury of playing, in Detroit, we had great teams there, and he could just roll the lines, and the other coach would have to match up with him, and he didn't care. So, he had that great luxury everywhere he went, in Montreal, Pittsburgh, Detroit. He had some good teams.
Mike, I want to go to the 95 Stanley Cup. You guys were on a roll. You go 12-2 into the final, play New Jersey. They sweep you. What did New Jersey do that was able to catch you guys off guard so much?
They had a good goaltender, and 2, they were a good defensive team. They checked like nobody's business. They shut us down in all areas of the game. That was a great learning experience, I think, for all of us to go through that. Because they were a great defensive team. Their defense, they had Brodeur. He'd be their breakout half the time. So Jacques Demers, he just had them playing a great system, and they had some talent on their team where they could score some goals on the power play and things like that. And great players like Scott Stevens, Scott Niedermeyer on defense, Danko. They just had a great team, and they were hard to play against.
I'm going to fast forward to 97 when you ended up getting the net. It was pretty much right before playoffs because I believe Osgood was struggling. Was it like a big surprise to you when they announced it? And like, how did Osgood take it? Like, how does that goaltending dynamic work when maybe one guy's disappointed he doesn't have the net?
Scotty came up to me, I don't know, probably around March maybe. And he said, you're going to start playing a lot more, so get ready to go. And I kind of took that as, okay, something's up. And he called us just before playoffs into his office. And I think there was still a couple games left in the regular season. And he said that, I just want you both to know this. I'm going to go with Mike to start the playoffs. And Chris, just keep working hard and things like that. And that's my decision. I just appreciate you guys don't say anything to the media, and I'll announce it when the time's right. And, he gave us a heads up, and he gave me a heads up a month ago when I was working hard and things like that. And he just said, yeah, look just get ready. And he started playing me a few more games. And I guess he just had that inkling that he was going to put me in. And I think the first game I played, I lost to St. Louis. And I didn't know if I'd get the net back again. And he did. He gave it back to me. And then we went on and started winning. And that was a unbelievable series. And I was head to head with Grant Fuhr again. And then unfortunately, Grant got injured. And he, Casey came in, and that's when Steve Yzerman scored that winning goal in overtime.
It had been such a long time, right, since the Wings had won a Stanley Cup, and it's an original 6 team. All the history. I imagine the pressure must have been maddening, and the fan base must have wanted it. And 95 happened with this amazing regular season. Were you guys feeling the pressure? Was it one of those things like when the Rangers got theirs in 94? Like, what was the vibe around the team and the city from the fan base? Were they kind of waiting for you to collapse? Or was it more like, they're going to get it done, this is our year?
There's no doubt. Detroit's a hockey town. They were excited. They've lost a couple years before in the finals. So the prediction was these guys are supposed to win the Stanley Cup, and there was a lot of hype around it and everything else, and obviously a lot of pressure. But going in as a goaltender and as a player, I understand the pressure, but I didn't feel it. I was just more concerned about myself and our own team and what we were trying to accomplish on the ice. And just try to take it one game at a time. And I know that sounds cliche, but it is the truth. You can't look too far ahead of things. And, we knew we had a good team. We knew we had a great chance of winning it. It's just we had to prove it. And I think our learning those experiences, losing out against Jersey in 95, we started to get some more playoff experience behind us. We made a few changes. We got Shanahan in there. We changed our look a bit. We changed probably 30% of our team from 95. So, we were ready to go. And, we had great leadership with Steve Yzerman, and we just ran with it. And, we just focused at what was at hand and the next game in front of us. That was it.
Well, I think we should talk about March 26, 1997. Now, obviously, that was a sort of precursor to the first cup. It's kind of crazy how it started. Larionov versus Forsberg, 2 guys who don't fight. Then, obviously, McCarty drags Lemieux to the boards. Now, do you leave your net right when you see Patrick head out of his net? Are you following this whole thing? Take us through this whole scenario. I
didn't really see Larionov and Forsberg start it. But then the melee going at in between the blue lines, and then Patrick Waugh comes out, and I'm like, oh, for Christ's sake, Patrick, stay in your net. And obviously the rule, if he comes out, I have to come out. And so I went out there and get in kind of the scuffle. And I have a hold of Adam Foote's left hand or arm. And he kind of looks at me and kind of laughs. And he had, I don't know who else he had, probably Shanahan, I think he squared up with. And then Patrick Waugh kind of came over and kind of jumped me in. And then we just kind of squared off at center ice and started to go at it. But yeah, I had a few fights in junior, never a fight in pro hockey, really. That was my only one. My brother was a pretty good fighter in his day. And I always said, what do you do in your fight? He said, just keep throwing them. Don't stop. And that's all I tried to do. I tried to bury my head in my armpit so I wouldn't get hit and just try to throw a few. And I kind of got lucky with a left and caught Patrick just over the eye. But the fans in Joe Louis loved the fights, the Bobby Proberts and McCarty's and all of that stuff. They like the tough stuff. And when they showed Patrick Waugh, the fans went crazy, and they still remember it, and they still, I don't know, they still have fun with it. So it's great.
And you still remember walking into the room after all that went down afterward, and just the chaos and commotion between your teammates?
Well, I'm going to tell you, I've never been so exhausted in my life. I don't know how you guys did it. That fighting is just ridiculous. It takes so much out of you. And I use the term, I was so fatigued, it's unbelievable. But after the game, it was, you know what? We lost 3 games to them prior to that game. And it's like, we can't beat this team. And we finally beat them on the score sheet. We fought them. Coming into that dressing room after, everybody was excited. They were just, we did it. Now we know how to beat these guys. Now let's go. It was a big confidence booster, that game. There was no doubt.
Of course, you won the Conn Smythe, like I mentioned in your intro. Did you suspect you were going to win it? Had you even thought about it until they called your name?
No.
Was it even on your mind? No.
Didn't think about it. Didn't really care. The focus was the Stanley Cup and just trying to take care of my business. And when they announced my name, I was like, really? And so I'm like, holy shit. So I was taken off guard there totally. I remember in 89 when we won, they called like 5 of us in, like Al McGinnis, myself, Newendike, and Joey Mullen. And he said, guys, one of you guys are going to win the Conn Smythe. We just want to give you the heads up. And you got to say you're going to Disneyland, because that was the big promo back in those days. But
the GM was probably getting a free trip. That's why.
He was getting the pass I got, Biz, for the VIP.
Someone was getting some free trips, but no. And I guess in 98, they never had that. And no one said anything. So it was just line up on the blue line, and they announced my name. And I was like, holy shit.
But going back to 97, though, obviously you hit a certain stride and a certain mental state. When it was game 2, when he announced that you were the starter after being shocked that you were renamed the starter, like, was that when you got your confidence and it clicked? When did you feel like you finally hit your rhythm there? And what's that like as a goaltender?
Well, physically, I felt great. And mentally, I felt that I was there. And it's just going out there. And the second game, I had a good game. We won the game, and it's like, okay, here we go. Let's just keep going, keep focusing, and just, it's like anything. I guess the best analogy is, they say goaltending. If you can get yourself into a groove and carry that groove for a couple months, that's what you want. And that's what I did. And I got into that groove. I felt it before, and I knew what it felt like. And I just, like, here we go. And it was a great feeling. You're going in with confidence. Look at that. I remember up against Colorado, we lost 7-0. And I was even like okay, is Scotty going to play me the next game or not? Scotty came back with me the next game. We won 7-0 the next game. So it's just, the game of hockey is crazy. The best of 7, anything can happen. And, you just, like I said, I know the old cliche, but take it a game at a time and just try to give it your best every time. And that's all I tried to do.
What's your thought this year with the Flames, the local team, looking this good?
I already got my shirt on. Look at I'm rooting for you guys all season long. I wasn't sure if you were still a fan the way that things left off maybe when you took off from there when you got traded. Was there any animosity after that? And then when you ended up coming back, did you guys kind of patch that up?
Yeah, I got traded out of there. I was gone for years. I came back. It wasn't a great scenario, but I knew I was at the end of my career. Also, my mother was dying of cancer, so I was glad to be here in the city. So that was tough, but and just getting sent down in that period. And Jimmy Playfair was the coach in the minors, and Jimmy looked at me and goes, "What are you doing here?" I said, "I have no idea." He said, "Don't even bother practicing, and I'm not playing you either. So you just chill out." And then I think Craig Button came down and we chatted, and then they brought me back up, and there was a big, with Greg Gilbert, and it was very uncomfortable. It wasn't fun. It's not a great way to finish your career. But that was my last year, and I packed it in. I knew it was, and I was just glad to be back in Calgary and getting to spend the quality time with my mother.
Mike, I noticed your second stint there, you wore number 29. Did they not give you number 30 as an option then, or someone else wearing it? What was the story there?
No, they said that I could wear it, and that was my first stint with Calgary, the 9 years, and I wanted just to leave that alone, and this was my other stint, and I had some good luck with 29 also, and I had a few good years in San Jose, but I just said to heck with it. It's only a number. It didn't mean too much to me.
Actually, I did have one about San Jose. When you were there, Owen Nolan, he was a younger captain, very intense guy, and what was pretty much a very veteran team. How did that all sort of mesh together with Owen Nolan there?
Oh, and we had Daryl Sutter as our coach too.
That too,
which was interesting.
That's why he was so grumpy.
I tell you, that guy used to. I think he had 12 pots of coffee in the morning, and he was just wound, for crying out loud. But Daryl was great, actually. And he has a great mind, but he's a great gentleman and everything else. And I know how he comes across into the media, but he takes his job very serious, and all he wants to do is win, and that's it. But we had great teams in Dean Lombardi and him assembled great teams in San Jose. And unfortunately, I think it was around February, they traded me out of there. And prior to that, Daryl goes, "You're my guy." Steve Shields was the other guy, and he was playing well. He said, "You're my guy. I'm going with you in playoffs." And I had a sense of the same thing Scotty Bowman told me on my third year in Detroit. And it was my third year in San Jose, and I just had a great feeling, and I got traded. And I remember Daryl knocking on my door, and he goes, "I guess I know why you're here." And I says, "Yeah, I know. Can I come in?" I said, "Yeah, come on in." And he sat there, and he just couldn't believe that Dean Lombardi was going to go into playoffs with a rookie goalie. And he was really distraught about it. Nothing taken away from Steve Shields, because he played extremely well. But Steve was a very nervous guy, and I think I helped calm him a bit. He was always undressing, dressing, and I'm always relaxed. I go in and read a book or read a magazine and come out and sit down, get ready for the game and whatever. But he was very intense, and I think I give him a bit of a calmingness when I talk to him and stuff. And I think I don't know. I think he just kind of played mind games with himself, and he wasn't in the league that long after, but he was a great guy, and I know he's with Michigan, and he's a goalie coach there and things like that. And he is a great guy. We did have some good times in San Jose.
You played with so many different legends, and it's funny hearing about all these different guys and coaches, but you had a stint as a Florida Panther, and somebody we really haven't ever talked about or know much about is the Russian Rocket, Pavel Bure. That season, I think he had 59 goals that you were there. Like, was this guy around the team off the ice? Did he have his own life going in Miami? What was the whole vibe with Pavel Bure when you were playing with him?
Pavel, if you blinked, you'd miss him. This guy was unbelievable. Very nice guy. Don't get me wrong. But I'm dressed. I'm ready to go on the ice for the game, or for warm up, and he walks by me in his underwear, and he's like, gets dressed, and he's like, comes out there and whatever, scores a couple goals, and then it's like he undresses. It's like he had a one-piece suit on. It was just on and off. The guy was so quick, it was unbelievable. I remember. I got a great story of Pav. He was. We were in Atlanta, and that's when he was dating Anna Kournikova at the time, and we're in a cabin. We're going to a men's club, and his phone rings. He goes, "Oh, look, it has Anna Love on it." He said, "Mike, you talked to her," because I knew her from my Detroit days, because she was around Fedorov.
Oh, Jesus.
Back then. So I'm like, well, hi, Anna, how are you? It's Mike. Oh, Mike, how you doing? I'm in Australia Open, and everything's going on and things like that. And, oh, yeah, Pav and I are just going for a bite to eat. Well, you watch him. You take care of him for me. Okay, not a problem. Here you go. Hand the phone back over. But he was a nice guy. He didn't hang around a lot, though. He was gone in a split second. It was unbelievable.
Russians are on their own program.
Oh yeah,
it hasn't changed.
You know what's interesting? I'm going to go back to we played with 5 Russians. Okay, they were great in Detroit. And when I first got there, I took the whole team to dinner. And we were at some steakhouse and took the whole team for dinner. And I looked at Stevie Eisman. I go, "You're next, the next road trip." And he goes, "Oh, okay, that's cool." So I don't know, wherever we were, Stevie took us for dinner the next time. And I'm looking around the dressing room, who am I going to pick on next? And I go, wow, the 5 Russians. So I got them all in line. I go, "You guys, you're buying us all dinner one night, but we want the best Russian restaurant in North America." And they go, "Oh, that's easy. It's in LA." And I go to the schedule right away, and I'm like, okay, do we have any time off in LA and things like that? And it so happens we do. So it was great. We did paintball.
Rubbing tugs. You had rubbing tugs.
Porsche. No, we didn't do that. We took a bus, and we all got on army fatigues, and we went paintballing. And then after, we went down to this Russian restaurant, and it was unbelievable. It was phenomenal that those guys, they even had the band and people dancing and everything. It was the real culture, and it was unreal. We experienced their culture, and they were so proud of it. It was unbelievable, and we had one of the best times ever, and we'll always remember it. And that is what helps bring teams together, and it was unbelievable. We had a great time.
That's a funny way of describing a strip club.
No, it wasn't a strip club. It wasn't the Jay Paris.
Oh my goodness.
So much, Mike. I mean, a hell of a career. Friggin' unbelievable run you had. And we had a blast talking to you. You had some great stories. We appreciate you coming on.
Not a problem. And good luck to you guys. And my kids love your show, and keep it going. You guys are very entertaining.
Well, we'll keep pushing you for the Hall of Fame, considering they said that.
Okay, buddy. Thanks. And don't forget Stampede Week. Get up here.
Big thanks to Mike Vernon once again for joining us. Awesome interview. Great guy. Terrific chat. We want to let you know his interview was also brought to you by Labatt Blue. There's a little bit of Canadian kindness in every sip of Labatt Blue Light. How did it get in there? They're Canadian. That's how. You can spread the love yourself by sharing a Labatt. When you share a Labatt, you're not just sharing a beer. You're sharing an experience that'll pair with anything from hockey to hoedown. So next time you're watching hockey with your buds, be sure to share a Labatt because while you might not all root for the same team, you can all enjoy Labatt Blue Light. Labatt, the pristine Canadian Pilsner. Share a Labatt. Geez, Biz, this is like a very special episode for you. You got a ton of details we got to get to still. You're going to be re-releasing your hit series, Biz Does BC. I know you mentioned it briefly earlier. What's going on with this, buddy?
So we never released Biz Does BC on the Spittin Chiclets channel. When I originally joined Barstool and the podcast, that was kind of how we rolled out the announcement because my right-hand man, Pasha, who we brought on earlier, when I first retired, I'd hopped in right into the media side by doing this series around BC called Biz Nasty Does BC, where we did 5 episodes. I want to say we had 17 past and present players do cameos throughout this silly adventure in which we travel to the Sunshine Coast. We end up going to Victoria. We do Kelowna and Kamloops. Help me out here, Pasha.
Vancouver. Victoria, Whistler, Vancouver, Kelowna. Those are the 5.
So we had 5 in there, and it was where I learned on like maybe how timing on camera, like how to help for, like behind the scenes, and just learn everything really about making guerrilla style content in which how we film it. We met some interesting characters along the way. We've talked about Sound Guy on the podcast before, so I would say about maybe 100,000 people who are listening right now have watched Biz Does BC, but a lot of you haven't. And you're like, what the fuck is this idiot talking about? It was filmed 5 years ago. We're going to re-release it on the Spittin Chiclets account because after that, and after we released it, the door opened up for myself and Pasha where, companies would come up to us to film commercials, whether it was Watson. And now we're talking about Why Buy. Right after Biz Does BC came out was basically an Airbnb for motorcycles, RVs, jet skis, whatever it may be. And it was a concept created by a couple guys out of Alberta. So they approached us about making a couple commercials for it. Well, they only ended up paying us half the money. The company struggled. It never got off the ground. So we've been holding these things on the shelf for 4 years now. So finally, we figured, why not fucking roll it out, given the fact we're re-releasing Biz Does BC. In the second commercial, we tie back in Sound Guy. And Pasha, I guess I'll throw it over to you. Like Sound Guy, the first day we met him was when we filmed episode 2, and that was on the Sunshine Coast with Morgan Riley, and explain how we ended up meeting this guy and kind of how the day unfolded.
Yeah, so I found Sound Guy through some other previous sound guys that worked with in town. They weren't available, so they recommended this guy, Rodolfo. So we show up the first day. First of all, you should never plan your first day shooting with a new crew on a small boat out in the hot sun. It was just a gong show, no room to move. It was hot. We're trying to film, and the boat's rotating, and just complete.
There's
nightmare.
A helicopter in the scene. We got an actual live helicopter from our buddy Brad Friesen.
We have a 15-minute window to film with this helicopter. Biz and I are yelling at each other. It was just a complete gong show, but, it all worked out. But with Rodolfo, the sound guy, we're kind of at the marina and we're, prepping to go on. And he kind of looks at me and goes, oh, bro, like, I don't know how to swim. Like, I'm not very comfortable on boats. And we're just like, oh, my God. So we bring him out there and he's already uncomfortable. And then we start kind of incorporating him in the jokes and like chirping him. And he's kind of sitting there being like, like, what did I sign myself up for? But then flash forward, a week or two when we, posted a lot on social media and he got more comfortable with the crew and now he's embracing being this on-camera role. I think the turning point was when we were in Kelowna, we went to Cactus Club. We walked in and some guy was like, hey, Sound Guy, what's up, man? And he got recognized. So then he kind of started wearing it. And then he
asked for money on the acting side.
Oh, he didn't.
Oh yeah. He was coming out with merchandise. He's a true beauty, and he's very professional. So we ended up hiring him in more things moving forward. But it ended up turning around where we absolutely embraced Rodolfo, but he got cocky real quick. So we ended up incorporating him in the second Why Buy commercial, and in the first one, fresh off his Calder Trophy winning season, we got Matt Barzell because I befriended him with working at the awards ceremony with Sportsnet. Yeah, and Hakkasan probably sealed the deal. And so we got him to agree. So it'll be his rollout of his ever first commercial. And so we got a star-studded cast with Rodolfo and Matty Barzell. So we're finally going to get to release these things. What are the dates? We're doing Biz Does BC on Wednesday, August.
That would be Wednesday, August 24th. And then the first commercial will come out Friday, August 26th. And then the second commercial will come out Sunday, August 28th.
Yeah. So this isn't an endorsement of this company because it's not off the ground. I don't even know what's going on with it, but we just figured because we did this thing guerrilla style and spent, weeks preparing for it, then a couple days filming it all. We just figured our Spittin Chiclets fans, if they're interested, they could go check that out on our YouTube channel and our social platforms. So look for that coming out Wednesday, Biz Does BC, Friday, Why Buy 1, Sunday, Why Buy 2. And was there anything else you wanted to mention about these commercials, Pasha?
No, just kind of echo what you said. I mean, these have been sitting on the shelf for 4 years, and we, put a lot of effort into them. So we just want people to get out there, see the art, get a couple laughs out of it. Like we said, this isn't, a promotion for this company since the company is basically non-existent. So
let's not bury the lead, boys. Let's not bury the lead. They are fucking hilarious commercials. Like, they're some of the funniest commercials I've ever seen.
I have not seen them, no. I'm looking forward to checking them out, though.
Whit, have you seen the Why Buys?
I very much enjoyed them. I thought they were good.
Okay. I'll take good from you, buddy. You're a tough sell.
No, I told you right away. You said, what do you think? We talked about it. I go, dude, you have to release those. They're funny.
So we figured we'd mention that at the back of the podcast to refresh people's memories that those are coming out. And on top of that, we're going to take another month off here, guys, and recharge the batteries. The content that we have rolling out on the Spittin Chiclets YouTube channel, I highly suggest people who maybe wouldn't venture into that space to go check it out. We did a fresh off of Biz Does BC. We ended up doing that Road Warriors series where I did an episode with Avery, and then the next one was the Newfoundland Extravaganza where I went and saw Senior and Terry Ryan. Where we just want to do more original content, and we continued the Biz Does the Coast. So we went and visited 3 ECHL teams. The first episode that will be coming out is the Orlando Pink Whitney night. Whit, that was the only one that he ended up coming to.
Oh, I was there.
Shit, does he have a cameo?
I forgot about that.
Number 2 is going to be the episode with Derek Nesbitt to celebrate his 1,000th game with the Atlanta Gladiators. And to wrap it all up, KB No Swag and Nick joined me in going home to Wheeling, where I played in the ECHL, to wrap up the series. So we have a 3-part series that's going to be coming out on back-to-back Wednesdays, and that's going to be coming out next week after the Biz Does BC and the Why Buy commercials. Give them the dates for the release of Orlando, Atlanta, and Wheeling, G.
So Orlando will be 8/31, which is a Wednesday. Atlanta will be 9/7, which is a Wednesday, and Wheeling will be 9/14, which is also a Wednesday. So just back-to-back Wednesdays.
So I know some of you guys missed the podcast with us hopping back on like we've done today. We're going to be back on the 20th, and then the 19th will be the following week after the last episode of the Biz Does the Coast. And that will be the Sandbagger coming out. So we have tons lined up for all you guys in the meantime. And then, of course, the live show in Pittsburgh to kick off the season. So I've talked enough. RA, Whit, Pasha, G, anything else before we wrap this bad boy up?
Yes. Speaking of Big Deal Brewing is on track for a limited October release. Is that correct, Biz? In 6 states?
6 states to start and a few selective provinces. And Canada, it's always a little bit trickier to roll alcohol out, but they are doing everything they can to get it on the shelves by October 15th in certain provinces. And then by the new year, it will be released in more states, and it's going to come out quick. And on top of that, tons of amazing merchandise like the hat I'm wearing. And we're going to be doing some awesome collabs, and we're going to have some fun with that. Guys, much like the Pink Whitney tour that happened in Ontario out west and then in Vancouver, we're going to do more of that everywhere with Big Deal Brewing. And then, of course, Pink Whitney as well. We're going to try to hit up East Coast Canada next summer and do more bar appearances where I'll be behind the bar pouring this beer and growing it and continuing to interact with our fans. And hopefully, if you can give me the finger, double barrel right to my face, just like the guy in Saskatoon.
Just follow Big Deal Brewing on Instagram and Big Deal Brew on Twitter, because that will be releasing everywhere where you can find Big Deal Brewing on those in the coming weeks, coming months. But that's your spot.
And just like Pink Whitney, massive giveaways. We're gonna have a QR code?
QR code, baby.
We're gonna have a QR code on the case of every single case of Big Deal Brewing that comes out that you can scan. It'll bring you to a website and you can enter contests. Who knows what you can win? The sky's the limit. So we just want to continue to provide all the people who support our brands with the opportunity to win free stuff.
And just like with
trips,
Pink Whitney,
whatever it may be.
And just like with Pink Whitney, go to your local liquor store, go to where you buy beer and request Big Deal Brewing. Tell them that you want Big Deal Brewing and it will come to you. Love it.
Absolutely. I think we want to thank Laundry Sauce and our buddy Sean as well before we move on to a few more things.
Shauna Puzo has been such an integral part of this podcast. He's a video. How do you say it? Videographer. I always fuck that word up. But he's worked so hard behind the scenes and carried the weight when we were a little bit short-staffed during a difficult time. And on top of getting all these clips out for the podcast and cutting everything for YouTube, he spent the time to help me film these Biz Does the Coast series. And he's editing it right now, and he has worked his ball bag off. So give him some love and some thank yous. And it's great having other guys involved because that just means more video coming out for our fans. So Sean, you've been a rock for us. We love you. We appreciate you. And we can't wait to see all the footage that you've edited for us and rolling that out. So you're a G, buddy.
Thanks, Sean. He is huge help behind the scenes. Great guy as well. So when we last left off, me and Whit had talked about Top Gun Maverick. A lot of people were surprised I hadn't seen it yet. I finally got around to seeing it. I took my old lady to see it. She didn't want to wait for the IMAX. I already waited long enough. So I saw it with her. She loved it. I loved it, but I had to go to IMAX at Reading, Mass. It's like the biggest screen in New England. Movie was fucking incredible. And I've said I wasn't even a Top Gun guy.
Real movie.
It was an entertainment spectacle. Like I walked out of there, like my jaw dropped. And listen, Tom Cruise, like he might get a Best Actor nomination. I don't say that lightly. His work in it, it was like, the first one, he's a cocky, like, young buck or whatever. This one, you could tell he's like a broken guy, like gooses all in his memory. Just like the second time I just watched his face the whole time. I was like, dude, the work he did, it was like real subtle, but just an incredible job he did. I really hope he gets a Best Actor nom. I know there's still a lot of movies to come out. Absolutely terrific work, but just pure entertainment, just a popcorn movie, whatever you want to call it. That first training scene with, like, it's not a spoiler, like it's like 20 minutes in the movie when he's the first day of class for the kids when they go up in the air.
When he's just dominating.
That was that might have been the most entertainment I've seen in the movies in 20 years. Just sitting there, like with the tune playing, I won't spoil it, like everything that's going on, just wildly entertaining. Thought it was terrific. I went back, saw it a second time at IMAX. That's how good it was.
You went man on fire on it.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. I thought I was blown away by how much I liked it and enjoyed it. So if you haven't seen it, by all means, check it out. So I'm on Team Maverick, no doubt about it.
I love it. Well, that's because you're supporting your boy, your co-star.
John Hamm. I'll tell you, he excels at playing dicks, man. He was like he plays a great dick. I'll leave it at that. I don't want to spoil too much. I think I know, Biz, you mentioned Better Call Saul. I know you haven't got into it yet. Had the finale last week, and everything has to be a dick measuring contest nowadays. Oh, was it better than Breaking Bad? Blah, blah. Dude, they were two totally different shows, both amazing shows, both A+ shows. I love the finale. The show was terrific, but they're completely different shows. I don't know that one's better than the other. They're just two different things, two different approaches. They're both excellent, but I wouldn't put one over the other, though.
Yeah, I just put it on the outline because so many people were pumping its tires online. Like, let's give credit to the writer of Breaking Bad who ended up branching out and creating a series equally as good.
Vince Gilligan shout out.
Saul, I don't know I'm not good with actors' names, but
Bob Odenkirk.
He is just excellent. He has had to have won a couple Emmys so far for his role in Better Call Saul. Correct or no?
I think so. I know he's been nominated, but I honestly not sure off the top of my head. But sorry, he's like Bryan Cranston was in Breaking Bad. Like, I don't think people knew how good of an actor he was until he did the show, because he had to play like 3 different characters in Better Call Saul. So phenomenal work by Odenkirk. I know he's been nominated, but who should win is Ray Seahorn, who plays Kim Wexler. She finally got nominated for like the Emmys that are coming up. She's been doing terrific work since season 1. So I really hope that she gets an Emmy, because she's deserved it for 5 years now. And she finally just got nominated. But great show, a little slower than Breaking Bad, just a different type of show. But, you know, whatever you like better. But I'm sick of everything. This is better than that. Just fucking let it be. Just enjoy it.
Does that grind your gears all right?
I wouldn't say it grinds them. It's just, you know, I wish we could just enjoy things on their own and not have to, again, have it like a dick measuring contest with everything all the time.
Yeah, but when people do that, like, what do you care if you just enjoy it on your own?
Yeah, that's why it doesn't grind.
Because it grinds his gears.
No, I just said it didn't.
What have we not discussed?
I think we got everything on the list here. Unless
one more thing. Helps. There actually is one more thing. A lot of people have been reaching out for Pink Whitney merch, for Spittin Chiclets merch, Big Deal Brewing, to sell in their retail shops, to sell at, you know, places like Pure Hockey, Golf Town, where we already have merchandise. If you want that, just email wholesale@barstoolsports.com. Again, that's wholesale@barstoolsports.com if you want to get your merchandise in the stores and sell it.
All right, we're going to have the Wit Dog finish up, but before we do, one quick record. I don't know if you guys watch Blackbird on Apple TV yet. Phenomenal.
I started watching it thanks to you.
It's Blackbird?
Phenomenal, dude. Yeah, Taron Egerton, the guy who played Elton John in Rocket Man. Incredible work. And Paul Walter Hauser, who played Richard Jewell, the big dude, the big actor there.
Yep.
Those two, I won't even tell you what it's about. Fantastic. Me and the old lady banged it out in a couple nights. Awesome, awesome show. Check it out if you can. And I know we're going to pass it over to you to close the show now.
Yeah, no, it's something to end the show after a fun get together. Catching up with all you guys has been great, but we do, you know, have 2 people we just want to mention today. August 23rd is the 1-year anniversary of Jimmy Hayes, Broadway, passing away, and somebody that's missed dearly by so many people. His wife Kristen is such a great person. His 2 boys, we see them a lot. I love seeing them a lot. Special people. Kevin Hayes is one of our favorites. So I think "be like Jimmy" was the term everyone was using after he passed away. And it's something I try to do in my life. I mean, in terms of bringing energy and enthusiasm and joy to people when you see them and meet them. That's what Jimmy did. So we want to shout out the 1-year anniversary of him passing away. And we haven't recorded together since, unfortunately, the awful passing of Ben Stelter, who's the amazing fan of the Edmonton Oilers, 6 years old, battled brain cancer harder than anyone could have. I know he meant so much to all the Oilers fans, the players. Connor McDavid talked about him. Leon had mentioned him. You saw the special storyline with him being around the team and his family seeing the joy in his smile and heart as he was getting to live out a dream of being around the Oilers. And 6 years old, gone way too soon. So rest in peace, Ben, and we're thinking of Jimmy and his family. So thank you guys so much for listening. It's great catching up, and we'll be back in about a month, but we have a lot of special things coming out. So as always, thanks for being amazing fans, and keep on living your life like Jimmy did. Peace.